What is going on, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the Contenders Trials North America Division. I am Septilence, joined by the wonderful Vincent, to bring you what we have already discussed is bound to be 2 phenomenal games.
I mean, it feels like there's almost nothing to be said because we got some phenomenal games yesterday to kind of set us up for today.
Right.
Shoes Money Crew, obviously, maybe having not the best of showings when it came down to it, but obviously Obey Alliance kind of coming back in here, trying to answer the call, make it to their third Contenders season in a row, but this time obviously down in Trials. It's so many cool storylines to work out, and I personally am very much looking forward to this one.
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. And I know that I got the opportunity earlier today while I was kind of hanging out in the Contenders Trials EU chat to ask a couple of folks, you know, who's going to win this one? Is it going to be Shoes Money Crew? Is it going to be Obey Alliance? And it was not a clean call across the board. Everybody was kind of up in arms about this one, and this really could, I think, go either way. And of course, we're going to be jumping into our first map, which is Lijiang Tower here. And then after that, the players and teams get a little bit of individuality, so to speak, on which map they want to choose next.
Yeah, well, and so just to kind of like, if you were somehow missing yesterday, that we kind of alluded to there in the North American side, it was Drifters to take that 3-2 victory over, or rather, I should say, over Obey Alliance, and then Shoes Money Crew also, unfortunately, going down 1-3, and that was to Ardor, if I'm not mistaken. So there was some iffy games, right?
Yeah,
it was not ideal, but it doesn't matter. You come back in, you do a little bit better today. You walk that fine line between absolutely wonderful team and the team that is lost yesterday, right? Like it's a very small margins, I guess, what I'm going for there, and so I think that we could be seeing, I think what I'm looking for, right, is what the adjustments are going to be between yesterday and today.
Absolutely.
Particularly for Shoes Money Crew, I feel like they had the most to improve on from their showing yesterday, especially coming in from, the Open Division side rather than coming down from Contenders. They've got a lot to prove in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. They are definitely looking to prove it, and I could not have said it better. Jumping into this first map, the first stage of Lijiang Tower is going to be Gardens, one that we are all very familiar with. I'm very excited to hopefully see, we've seen a lot of Wrecking Ball gameplay, especially there in EU earlier today, and I would love to see that carry on here into Lijiang Tower between these two teams, Obey Alliance and Shoes Money Crew once again. This is, I can only hope, destined to be a phenomenal and very close series.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Shoes Money Crew were not at all afraid yesterday to play that Wrecking Ball whenever they wanted to. Cameron pulling that out, but I have to be honest, I didn't think it was the most effective thing they were playing yesterday. So I think it could be interesting to see something different, or maybe their engagements have improved a little bit. Regardless, right now, Cameron looking to maybe go on to the Reinhardt, so a slight alteration, particularly on a map like this one, where I think Gardens, you can kind of make an argument for both sides, but when it comes down to it, it looks as if Obey Alliance very much going to be favoring that more divey style with the D.Va and the Winston. So no ball for either side this time. The Witch not coming through though.
Yeah, not coming through quite yet. Already that fire strike from Cameron's going to get eaten up. Joe going to dive very deep into the back line, but instead Cameron going to be that first tank to fall. The main tank falling on both sides. Pedal not far behind, so a great look here already on the side of Shoes Money Crew and Obey Alliance. Tensa, he sneaks his way in there, finds Pascal out. One support finds another, and this fight so neck and neck, back and forth on both sides. We see that flashbang coming out from Miracle. Aspen is able to find Tensa. One Lucio dismisses another, so these supports, all bloodthirsty as ever, trying to find their counterparts here. Miracle trying to get a little bit of damage onto Joe, able to do just that. Slowly but surely, Shoes comes through with that first point cap.
Yeah, and that's what, you said it yourself. Slowly but surely. It's not something that came in at one time, but the trickle fight kind of worked out in their favor, I think, because they had a little bit more sustain, and they didn't lose their main support, their main healing, for, in the Moira department, right, earlier on. That's also part of the deal. Pascal able to kind of be up close and personal with this more brawly style and take over each individual player as they look for.
Yeah, most certainly. And I'm not the least bit surprised to see Joe coming through here, swapping out of that Reinhardt to Winston. He dove deep into the back line, paid the price of his life for it, and now has to be changing things up a little bit. You're only about 30%, about a third done with the stage. You've got plenty of time to get things lined up here. You can recharge, Earth Shatter, not a difficult ultimate to charge if you're just holding down that left click, but Shine does have that Blizzard, and if there's a Mei on the board, I mean, Reinhardt gets to do nothing except be a giant rectangle, and it looks like we see Joe already being stuck in that a little bit of Great Wall coming out from Shine to get things lined up. Rose, once again, using those thrusters, finding Pedal off off the map. Cameron picks up Joe already, a 4v6 in favor of Shoes Money Crew, but there goes Chime off the side. Tensa with a great boot, able to find that May, but that May kill is not going to be enough. Paintbrush will fall to Rose as well, and Shoes Money Crew, I feel they've hardly broken a sweat since that first fight.
Hey, listen, Chime may have gotten knocked off by Tensa right there, but Chime's wall was absolutely crucial in order to stop that push and really make it very difficult to get anything out of it. And Paintbrush, knowing that, swaps off the Moira, but now Buck is ready with this EMP. That's the big key here, Sepsilence, and there it goes.
Speak of the devil, here comes that EMP, able to find quite a few, but not really able to be followed up quite yet. Miracle is going to be taken off, 5 more found, only 1 has fallen. We hear the beat now coming out from both sides, desperate to keep these teams alive. Joe is going to get countercharged by Cameron there, but only one team has that immortality field alive, and it is Shoes Money Crew all over again. Rose finds not 1, but 2 in the bomb from Cakefish, not able to find even a single elimination there. Shoes Money Crew only 6% away from blocking up this first stage, and Chime going to make it all the easier, taking that Sober offline, dismissing those hacks from the fight, and just like that, Shoes there looking to trickle this timer down. One is going to be able to recontest once again. It looks like it's going to be Tensa taking out Joe and Cakefish not far behind. Shoes Money Crew, I mean, they're looking to find this one by one. The eliminations will be through, and that is exactly what they need to see right here to make this happen. You talked about it, Vincent. You said we need to see some improvements from this team early on, and they are here to show us just that.
Well, and what they've improved on, that coordination is really on point.
Absolutely.
Number one, obviously, the coordination. But number two, A's been doing a great job of getting out of that line of sight, not getting EMP'd up. You use the sound barrier in order to make sure that everyone stays very, very healthy for that big ticket ultimate. And the Buck was actually charging it relatively quickly, but it wasn't fast enough in order to actually take that point. And so kind of knowing, Shoes Money Crew kind of knew that there was one opportunity for Obey Alliance to get into that point, and if they were able to utilize their support ultimates, and not to mention, we're talking about Pascal well placed on the immortality field, if they're able to use those effectively, then they can just counter that entirely and get out and get that early lead and victory. So we move here to Control Center. It is, well, pretty standard, you have to say.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my favorite character making an appearance on not one, but 2 teams. Junkrat is here, live in action, and Buck going to be able to find that first kill right away. Reinhardt's shield will not keep him alive up against such an aggressive character and heavy damage dealer like Junkrat there. Cameron will fall, and I mean, there really can't be much more of a fight for Shoes here. Their best course of action is to get out and wait for that Ryan to come back.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they needed to do, but it's a fast reset, so this is solid. Get right back in there. You might even contest this.
Absolutely. The point cap will not come through. That fight was won so quickly on the side of Obey Alliance. Shoe, they were careful with it, excuse me. They were able to get things lined up. They didn't push in. They didn't elongate the fight longer than it needed to be. But again, Cameron taken out by Tensa. We see already the pressure coming out from Obey Alliance. They are forcing down this Reinhardt 2 times in a row. Pedals plugged in that microwave here at full charge as well. Chime and Rose will fall. Obey Alliance looking very strong here on stage 2 of Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, and we saw Cameron and Rose getting, unfortunately, very split up. They need to utilize those shields dynamically. They need to be together, but they got split up left and right, and that really was their downfall.
Yeah, absolutely, their downfall indeed. And now we see a little bit of value coming out on the side already. We're going to see that Riptire coming out from Buck and the Amplification Matrix coming out from Paintbrush and Paxel as well. Here comes that Tire of Immortality Field, a very broken ability here in the game. Able to get things lined up, get that Tire out of here. Petal has that Photon Barrier at the ready, able to get a little bit of value in. If they choose to use it, maybe to block a Shatter, maybe to prevent a Riptire, only time will tell. Shoes Money Crew, I really feel they've kind of woken up with their shoelaces tied together. They are really struggling to push into this fight.
Oh, that's
certainly going to make it a lot harder. Both Miracle and Atlas caught out. Forbidden Flux has to come on now from Rose. A bit of desperation, trying to find an elimination. Miracle able to do just that off the back of it. Joe and Paintbrush both fall for the first time in this stage entirely. Shoes Money Crew, they finally got the numbers advantage in their favor. Already half of the point in favor of Obey Alliance.
Joe, what a great Earth Shatter that was, but there was no follow-up. Nobody available to come back in on it. That's the biggest problem. Really good view there from Rose to know the timing, using that Gravitic Flux quite effectively, and of course Chime as well on that Photon Barrier. That was the opportunity. That was the one moment that they could have gotten back in there, Shoes Money Crew, and they did just that. Now Obey Alliance are back on the back foot.
Yeah, now Obey Alliance, like you said, on that back foot here. Miracle playing that long game with the Riptire, trying to burn out through the Immortality Field, but not able to do quite that. Chime in the back line, trying to plug in a microwave of their own. Buck goes for a cheeky Riptire. He's going to be taken out by Aspen there. Petal will be able to find Chime, a 5-for-5 matchup here of Junkrat and Ace Symmetra missing respectively. Joe will be taken out by Cameron there with that Fire Strike as well. So 40% online for Shoes, and it looks like they're going to be able to hold on to it at least a little bit longer here. Obey Alliance certainly struggling to find their engagement.
Yeah, and that's the big issue on a map like this, right? Like, the engagement is the most difficult part because you really just have to have a huge advantage. And, well, maybe trying to push that advantage with an Ant Matrix, it does buy you space.
Oh, and speaking of space, Rose falling, that's going to be a phenomenal turnaround very early on. We see Buck able to find the entirety of the tank line. Chime not far behind there. Kingfish finds one, Joe finds another. I mean, Obey Alliance, all they had to do was commit an Ant Matrix and hold W, and Shoes kind of crumbled underneath it. Joe was able to find a triple kill in the mix-up, and Shoes, they've got one ultimate to move in with. Looks like they're going to be getting close to a couple of more, but I mean, Obey Alliance, they're going to have quite a few of their own.
But most crucially, they were split off once again, Seth Owens. They got split, and they cannot keep getting split like this. Otherwise, it's going to go exactly like that Ant Matrix did. 1, 2, and done.
Yeah, and maybe they're kind of in a scenario they might have used Aspen's beat to engage, which isn't necessarily everybody's favorite thing to do, but instead committing Pascal's amplification matrix early on, the photon barrier from Petal. Here comes the gravitic flux from Carafish, the shatter from Joe, and I mean, Obey Alliance, they're using every single ultimate they have at the ready, and now 2 eliminations, making 3 coming out in their favor. They're only 9% away from forcing Night Market, from forcing that stage squeaker of the Lijiang Tower, and it looks like they're going to be able to do just that. Rose and Pascal both fall, the Riptire coming out, a move of desperation from Miracle, but just like Buck before, we'll have that Riptire dismissed. Now we see Cameron on the wrecking ball trying to get to point, able to do so, going to be stalled up, but no ultimates at the ready. So Shoes Money Crew, they're going to have to do seemingly the impossible if they want to keep this alive, and Aspen being eliminated there by Cakefish is most certainly not going to help.
Well, but the photon barrier certainly does, and I mean, it makes it very viable here. And now with the gravitic flux, this is very winnable.
I would love to see it happen there. Rose is able to find Joe, but Chime and Cameron, they're going to fall right away. The trap now, Rose walking directly into it, and Buck is going to be eliminated, but nobody's going to be able to stay on point long enough. Miracle and Rose taken out afterward, and this is already, we talked about it, we wanted to see a close series, and if these 2 stages have been anything, they have been a great demonstration of the maps that we're going to have after this one.
Yeah, well, in addition to that, like, you saw how unaffected, we'll just say, Paintbrush was sitting on that high ground, the Ant Matrix in hand. Like, it was not a problem. Now, granted, you're coming in there and you're down big. You have to try and make a hero play. You had that photon barrier. Like I said, once the gravitic flux came online, you had an opportunity to start and roll and chain kills together, but it just didn't quite happen. Unfortunately, I think Aspen utilizing the sound barrier earlier on and basically getting no value out of it really hurt this Shoes Money Crew side. It's not like it was not a mistake from Aspen. I don't want to pretend like that was the case, because that was not at all what happened there. But it was that Tensa was just a little bit better on the timing, and it really helped for everyone to get big value out of those ultimates. And from there, without that additional shielding, the retake just simply not possible for Shoes Money Crew. And now they've got to do it again here on Night Market, maybe a bit more on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, like you said, kind of on the back foot here a little bit, Obey Alliance moving into that 3rd stage. They're going to have kind of that momentum available. They were able to take that one. And I agree. I think Shoes, I think they were very close. They were almost able to get things lined up there, but a couple of misplaced ultimates here and there kind of didn't get them the fruition they were looking for, the success that they wanted there on Control Center. Now moving into Night Market, I wouldn't be surprised to see Symmetra on both sides. It's kind of a staple map for her, and maybe the Junkrat as well, but we see Miracle right before that pause did swap onto the Doomfist, and I think Doomfist could make a pretty good amount of sense here as well.
Well, I have to fully agree with you. The Doomfist is super strong here. We saw it before as well. You know, the Miracle Doomfist coming out every once in a while. For Shoes Money Crew, I think I saw that Open Division is when I got to cast their finals, the winners final game that they played against Drifters. Like, it certainly can have effect, but I think that they need to recognize when it's not working and when it is working, and be sure to swap off of it. When it's working, it's firing on all cylinders, but when it's not, they need to be able to say, okay, this is something we need to change.
Oh! What a phenomenal punch from Miracle early on. Not quite able to find a kill, but was able to find that turret, take it offline, and give Shoes Money Crew just the smallest advantage. Chime has that microwave plugged in very early on. Miracle will fall with a 2-for-1 trade here in favor of Shoes Money Crew. That's going to be a good look very early on. As we've seen both stages, we've seen already, the first team to cap the point was the team to win the stage. So Shoes Money Crew, they're definitely going to be looking to cap this stage as early as possible.
Absolutely are, and they're going to do just that. It was, in fact, that extra damage from Miracle across the board that really gave them the additional damage.
Absolutely.
You know, you get involved there, and then Chime just starts microwaving them down, like you say. Perfectly done.
Yeah, no, I love calling it the microwave, one of my favorite things to say in the game. I don't know why, I just think it's hysterical, but Chime doesn't even need the microwave, able to take Buck offline with that melee kill. Joe and Paintbrush not far behind that hammer, 85 damage, a swing from Cameron, coming in, taking down not 1, but 2, and that fight, blink and you miss it, fight 2 already comes to a close.
Yeah, and what I really like here is this interesting tank lineup, right, with the Winston. I really love this from Rose and Cameron because I think that it actually applies a whole lot of different pressure to Cakefish and Joe. And Petal has swapped over onto the Reaper in order to try and deny Rose. That shows how much damage Rose is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Rose, all of a sudden, very, very scary. Something you want to keep an eye on. And Petal able to do. You called it, Vincent. Coming through in fruition there. That Winston going to be taken offline. And here comes Buck with that Rip Tire. Not quite able to find the kill. Gets a little bit of damage there onto Cameron and Joe with the follow-up. Now Chime trying to get this beam as strong as possible before being taken out, but cannot live fast enough. Obey Alliance coming in a very clean push coming through. They didn't really take any risks. They didn't go for anything too cheeky. They just kind of walked in and found the eliminations necessary to cap point.
Man, all I can think of is how funny it looks when Chime is just like ignoring the Reinhardt of Joe, and he's just smacking him with the hammer behind. Like no, it's fine. But no, coming in with lots of ultimates here are Choose Money Crew, so it's not the end of the world, but they need to make a quick engagement, and well, that Photon Barrier allows just that.
Oh yeah, Photon Barrier is going to be great. It's going to block the Shatter out from Joe as well. Now that's going to force both Gravitic Flux and the beat from Tensa to come out. So now a couple of ultimates coming through. Wow, we actually saw just a moment there. We saw Joe get moved back into that Gravitic, Cameron get moved back into that Gravitic Flux. Now Rose with the Primal Rage, able to find not one, but two eliminations there. Picking up two, three more will fall. And just like that, a team kill comes to fruition. Choose Money Crew, they commit maybe one more ultimate than they wanted to, but they do still win the fight.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the other thing, right? Like, I think that if you're Choose Money Crew, everything came up gangbusters right there. Chime blocks the Shatter with the Photon Barrier. Are you kidding me? And on top of that, you get big value out of both of your ultimates from the tank line, and you still have a potential sound barrier coming up online from Aspen. This is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Miracle trying to make it even bigger. They're going to do one elimination. Petal with the Death Blossom. Nothing coming off the back of it quite yet. Miracle is going to fall right into that Diva Blast. Now another tire coming out from Buck. Going to be taken out by Paxel right away. These Rip Tires have not been very lucky so far today. Tensa finds one, Cakefish finds another, and slowly but surely, Choose Money Crew, they're trying to stack up as many percent as possible. Pushing this into overtime is a best case scenario for them.
But those late kills, Septulence, they're so important. Look, they've just got to run away to Choose Money Crew. They've got to re-engage and give this point back for just a moment. But don't you worry, they're going to be coming back in very, very shortly with, like I said, the engagement tool. That's going to be the sound barrier this time out, and there ain't nothing to stop.
Yeah. Absolutely, I'll say they got a little bit lucky there that they didn't get staggered. They got incredibly lucky they were able to make it out, but the stagger will not matter as Buck does find one elimination. Joe finds another, and just like that, 4v6 in favor of Obey Alliance. Petal picks up Cameron, and Choose Money Crew, it's time to tuck tail and run, get back to spawn and try again. You've got time for one more good push, maybe two if you're fast on the first one, but things are starting to get a little bit nerve-wracking for them.
They are, and I was really underselling Paintbrush's Matrix right there because I thought that there would be time to disengage, but no disengagement available here for Choose Money Crew. They were fully committed, and now that's given Joe and Cakefish both opportunities to get their ultimates online. This is scary for Choose Money Crew. They don't win this fight, they might not win this at all.
Yeah, they don't win this fight. They've taken so long to engage here that losing this fight could be nothing short of a disaster for them. Now Cameron, he is just holding that left click in, trying to find the value that he wants. Gonna go for the Shatter, perhaps outside, but instead, Rose with that Primal Rage already able to find Joe. The main tank gone. The Reaper might not be far behind, but it looks like Petal was able to teleport back up onto the map. Buck, again, another Rip Tire just down the drain. Not quite able to find the value that he wants. 99 to 99. Choose Money Crew. They do regain favor. Petal so danger close to that Death Blossom. Might be able to find it. Doesn't in fact find it. He's going to come in very late. Oh, right out of it. A phenomenal stun coming out from Miracle now on that three. Cakefish does find the kill, but Rose picks up Paintbrush. Immortality gone. Joe is gone. Obey Alliance one by one are going to be eliminated here. They can go for that stall potential. They've got no ultimates to stall until. This is kind of prolonging the inevitable, so to speak. Cakefish and Tensa both eliminated. We see Buck just barely able to recontest with that Tracer, but blink and you miss it. Tracer will fall as well, and Choose Money Crew take Lijiang Tower 2-1.
Yeah, and I want to kind of put a lot of pressure, right, on what Choose Money Crew did to Joe. They just bullied the poor guy. I mean, it's just so unfair, right? Because whenever you saw, okay, Joe has the Earth Shatter up and ready to go, had no opportunity to use it, none whatsoever. And then, of course, we see the play of the game happening right afterward. Rose doing a wonderful job of really making that space, doing wonderful. And beyond that, like, it's just so well done there from Choose Money Crew. I think that they recognize what their not only their win conditions were, but what potentially could be a condition that they lose that fight, and they pressured it massively. Made sure that Joe couldn't find any value out of that Earth Shatter, was constantly being swung on, was constantly being microwaved down, and it was all over. Really well done from Choose Money Crew to take map number 1. That really could have gone either way.
Absolutely.
And Obey Alliance did a brilliant job of getting back in there even when they were down.
Yeah, 99 to 99%, but Rose, I mean, just after Lijiang Tower, if I had to pick an MVP already, it would be Rose. 74% kill participation there in that total map. That is not something I feel you see often from a Winston in particular. So Rose doing a phenomenal job. The Primal Rage, every single one found value. I don't think there was a single Primal Rage without at least one elimination. And I'm very excited to see how that tank line kind of continues on moving away from these control points. I always refer to control points as kind of the difference of Overwatch maps. There's not really another map type like it. So I'm curious to see, can Choose Money Crew keep this momentum? Can they keep getting these wins out from under the noses of Obey Alliance? Or is Alliance going to really kind of brush up here and move back into this next map even stronger?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I didn't particularly get a great chance to take a look at any of the comps that Obey Alliance were putting together the other day. So I kind of missed the mark on that. So I don't know if they prefer kind of more brawly style or not. What I do know is that Choose Money Crew are very okay with playing that brawl, but they kind of favored more divey yesterday, and now they've moved to something a bit different. They've made adjustments, and so I think I like that. And considering that we're going to be heading into Junkertown, I think that could be an interesting bit of information, because when I saw this team play in Open Division just a couple of weeks ago, they played this map. They brought Light in for Chime, the same as they've done right this moment. And unfortunately for them, Drifters just kind of forced them to play their own game on the brawl. But this is a bit of a different game now. So I'm wondering if the same is going to happen here. Are Obey Alliance going to try and force the brawl, or are they going to allow Light to get on that long-range hit scan that I think is very much what they want to play?
Yeah, I certainly think so as well. That kind of makes me think that perhaps Chime is kind of maybe that control point specialist, perhaps just a specific DPS, a Symmetra specialist, so on and so forth. But Light being subbed in here, moving into Junkertown, like he said, I'm curious to see. We're going to see a Hanzo, a Widowmaker even. We saw some Widowmakers earlier in that EU division. I'd love to see some more coming through, but only time will tell what these teams think is going to be the best course of action here on Junkertown.
Right. I mean, that's exactly right. We're going to see the unlock here in just a minute. And what that does allow is just some time, right, to take a think, take a moment to look back. And it was Choose Money Crew, I think, that really made the last-second adjustments there to push themselves over the edge. And I actually think that's where their weakness lied yesterday. And you and I were talking, actually, before we got live, and we were talking about, like, what we saw yesterday. And that was what I was saying. I was like, okay, if Choose Money Crew come out and they've made some changes, they've looked a little bit different, I have a lot of faith in them in this game. If they look the same, I think Obey Alliance are just swinging this one very easily. But speaking of changes, we're
seeing quite a few. Yeah,
we
are seeing quite a few changes here. I don't think we've seen a single character on either side that we saw on Lijiang Tower. We saw Sigma for a moment in the Baptiste. We saw him as well. But other than that, I mean, this is a full roster on both sides. Both Aspen and Tensa coming out on the Brig, which I am very, very excited to see. I know both of them are very strong on that Brig, and I'm curious to see, is it going to make the difference they want here?
Well, I mean, if you look at the other side, I mean, it seems like this is just kind of where the meta has landed, and maybe I'm a bit under surprised I haven't been in the scrims or anything, so I really haven't been looking. But this is certainly different than what we saw yesterday. But I love that we're going to see the Widow battle. Petal, Light, this is going to be an exciting one. But Cameron also has been very willing to go over to this Orisa, so that's a strong character for him. I would not, put it past him to have a big performance on this Orisa.
Yeah, absolutely. Orisa here to make a huge difference. That the Bongo as well could make a phenomenal difference. But I'm curious to see which one of these Widowmakers really starts to show up today. Widow, she's phenomenal. She's notorious for finding an elimination, and those eliminations just crack a fight wide open. Now, Light playing that slow corner, nose pedals in the area, but can't quite lock down on where they are yet. Both these Widowmakers, I feel there's a respect between the two of them not to show their face very early on, because they know the other one will take their head clean off their shoulders. And Rose can be able to use that Eke and a little bit of damage in here and there to miss the accretion very early on as well. And a lot of damage and ult charge being racked up for Choose Money Crew.
Yeah, and that's just it, right? Like, they're playing so passively, but that's what the point of this comp is you just keep backing up until you get an advantage, and then you go for it, and that's what Miracle just did.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very curious to see if Light can keep up this momentum. Already able to find 2 eliminations there. One of them was a headshot, 2 where a body shot. Light does find Petal that Widowmaker 1v1, already ending in favor of Shoes Money Crew. And like I mentioned early on, you kind of touched on it on those already. Just look at the ult charge, right? We see 4 ultimates at the ready for Shoes Money Crew, and Obey Alliance, it looks like they're just getting close to around 2.
Yeah, it's going to be on the Cakefish, who whether or not they can find a good timing on this Gravitic Flux. Otherwise, this is maybe a one-sided affair.
Absolutely, but damage on both sides. Going to be a lot of damage early on. Pascal's Immortality Field eliminated before he can even get some value. And with that, that makes this Gravitic Flux nothing short of 3. Miracle will be the first to fall there. And counter Gravitic Flux coming out from Rose. Aspen can make that rally as well. The 1-to-1 trade, the DPS for the support. Baptiste and Genji will fall. And Rose taking that opportunity. Knows there's not a main support in sight. Trying to get value here. That's going to be great here that Light has those sights very early on, much earlier than Petal.
Yeah, I mean, look at what it's done. It's just forced back this entire push. You can't engage when there's a Widow with walls in front of your face. Like, that's just not realistic.
Absolutely, and speaking of unrealistic here, Miracle going for the legendary 6K, the non-nano Genji trying to get any kind of value, but instead, Petal going to be able to find Light, so a 5v6 in favor of Obey Alliance, and here comes a Genji blade of their own. Tensa finds one, Buck looking to find some more. His ultimates have not been necessarily the most consistent today. Tensa was able to find 2 in the mix-up. Buck and Petal will put Rose and Miracle back in that spawn room, and it took almost 3 minutes, but Obey Alliance have finally found their footing here on Jumper Town.
Yeah, and Tensa getting huge value out of that rally as well. I cannot overstate that. It really keeps Buck healthy enough to get big value out of the Genji ultimate, right? So it makes it a little bit easier to use kind of that naked blade that you were discussing that Miracle kind of struggled with it's a great effect. So Petal using the walls here in order just to get a bit of space, and I think that's perfectly fine. You create some space, you give yourself some time, and then you re-engage when you want to. But that's a big pick on the paintbrush. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, the re-engage may have just gotten notably easier as the main support has been taken off the side of Obey Alliance. They're a 5v6 in favor of Shoes, and that's exactly what they want. They've already got 3 minutes on the clock. Eliminating that Baptiste just bought them another free 20 seconds. They've got to do that just a couple more times to really demolish this time bank here, and so far, they've certainly been able to do that. It's just that fight felt very lucky for Obey Alliance. They were able to win that first one. Petal just got a lot of great eliminations, and now the slow rotation underneath coming out from Obey Alliance. You see Joker doing that ultimate very early on, that damage boost, trying to get a little bit there. He's actually able to eliminate Cameron's in the mix-up. Damage has to come out from Pascal, and now Rose is going to be able to find that elimination onto Buck. So Shoes Money Crew, they're going to find that first elim in a very confusing, very close quarters fight. Both Joe and Tensa going to fall immediately after that 6v3 in favor. Make it 6v2. They get 6v1. Nobody's able to make it out with their lives here from Obey Alliance. Shoes Money Crew already burning another minute off the clock.
Not to mention a key couple of ultimates as well there. But what I want to say is that I really love that rotation from Shoes Money Crew. They did a really good job of just kind of getting out of that sightline and allowing themselves to stabilize. And once they did, re-engage with ease using just the one ultimate in order to do it. And I think it worked beautifully.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. It worked absolutely beautifully. Miracle here with another one of those naked blades, so to speak. Going to be able to find Petal in the back line. Might be able to get a lot of damage off the back of it. Petal will not win that matchup any day of the week in close quarters like that. Genji v Widow has a very hard matchup to win as that Widowmaker, but that's just an even better look for Shoes Money Crew here. They don't have to engage on this fight. They just bought themselves another 20 seconds.
Yeah, 20 seconds here, 20 seconds there. Extra armor off the back of this rally from Aspen, and now you have that blade like you were talking about. That it's naked, sure, but you can still get 1 or 2 out of it.
Absolutely, even one elimination can flip a fight right out of its head, right? So even finding that 1 or 2 kills would be huge here. But Obey Alliance committing to rally relatively early on. Buck's holding a blade deep in the back line. I'm not sure he's going to be able to find anything with that. A bit of an over-aggressive commitment there. Not able to find the elimination quite yet, and there we go. An elimination here in favor of Obey Alliance. Light will be taken out. Rose not far behind. Obey Alliance, again, it takes them nearly 3 minutes every time to really get the momentum back in their favor. That's going to leave them a very poor time bank if they even cap all 3 points.
Well, you say that, but look how far this has gone. It's a re-engagement with just 3 players. They're trying to buy time for the respawns to come in, but this seems maybe a bit ham-fisted, if you will, from
Sure.
Drew's Money Crew. They invest heavily in that. I mean, they even invest the Amp Matrix, which, like, it's not a huge investment, but it's something.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I guess in fairness, they forced Paintbrush's Amp Matrix, so it's not the end of the world. It wasn't the end of the world before, but it just was a bit of an interesting decision because we saw how far Obey Alliance had gotten that cart without really even committing a whole lot to that cart. So really well done from them for getting so far without actually getting punished for it. It's like swapping off the Widowmaker now, Petal the same. It's just going to be a bit more of a normal duel.
Yeah, like you said, a bit more of a normal duel here. You're going to have the McCree versus the Ash rather than the Widow v Widow, so to speak. Paintbrush going to be able to find Miracle straight away. Petal picks up Rose, but what a shot from Light there, right into Paintbrush's dome. Able to knock that Baptiste out of the fight. And already, I mean, we saw Shoes Money Crew lose 2 rather than Obey Alliance losing 1, but Obey Alliance lost their Baptiste, and that is a crucial elimination.
Yeah, but look how far the cart's still moving.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
the big issue for what Shoes Money Crew are trying to do. Yes, the whole point is to back with this comp. You have to give space. But you can't give that much space all the time, I don't think, especially not when you're playing against a team that's down their main support. Now, they have their main support, they can re-engage, and they got big ultimates to do it to Obey Alliance.
Yeah, absolutely. The ultimates are going to be coming out here, I expect, in troves with the momentum that we've seen from the side of Obey Alliance. You'd expect a lot of aggression, but instead, Miracle going to be getting aggressive all their lonesome. Paintbrush committing a very confusing amplification matrix there. Miracle going to be able to find that Baptiste off the back of it, so that amp matrix just kind of down the drain.
What a great job from Pascal there, and the rest of the team, might I add, off the back of the Holt, in order to just take huge advantage of Pascal's Amp Matrix. You get the Genji in there with the dash, use the Holt to bring everyone together, of course, Dynamite doing massive damage. Like, it's all, you know, everything adding up, one by one by one, and that's how you turn a fight with ease, just like they did there. And now Obey Alliance, they're coming in here, despite the fact that Paintbrush kind of gives away that free ultimate last time, they got 5 ults to deal with.
Yeah, and here comes one of them. We see Petal going to be committing that high noon. Might be able to find something if he's lucky, but not able to get anything lined up quite yet. Now the bomb coming out from Light, a 7v6. Everybody's favorite aimbot making an appearance here at the end of Junkertown. Cakefish able to find not 1, but 2. Buck trying to find a 3rd, not quite able to. Pascal finds that Genji once again. It's going to be an overtime here. Cakefish just desperately trying to keep this fight alive, finding 3 eliminations in the mix-up. That's going to force Shoes to go for a couple more stally swaps. We're going to see Cameron on the Wrecking Ball. Light was on the Tracer, but is immediately dismissed from the fight. Here comes that Wrecking Ball. Might have rolled a little bit too far away. Almost going to let go of it, able to make his way back on. Joe just farming that left click. Orisa does a lot more damage than people often give her credit for. Cameron will fall. Here comes that naked blade from Miracle, already down to critical condition. Buck on the Tracer, able to take them out of the fight. Cameron not far behind. Pascal is gone. Aspen is gone, and the Moira as well. Petal with the 3K at the end of the fight, able to secure all 3 points here for Obey Alliance. 0 seconds left on the clock.
That's huge tracks from Petal. Let's just I mean, we don't need to dance around that one. Petal really pulling the Obey Alliance folks straight through into that 3rd point. But I want to kind of focus back again. We only saw 1 fight victory for Obey Alliance on each individual point. All they needed to do was win 1 fight because of how passive the cart presence was from Shoes Money Crew. And I want to, again, clarify that I do understand that they have to play that passive way in order to get value long-term out of their composition. That's what their comp's for. It's a poke comp. But at the same time, you have to commit something to slow down that presence a little bit, because if you don't, you're caught out into the scenario where it's really easy for Obey Alliance to just bank 6 ultimates, use them all at once, and then stagger you out and get the free point off the back of that. And they did it 3 times in a row to Shoes Money Crew. It's an unfortunate scenario, but you really have to be aware of it. And Obey Alliance, I feel like they just did a perfect job of that strategy. If that's what they were going for, absolutely phenomenal job.
Yeah, no doubt. A phenomenal job indeed. And Vincent, we talked about this in the beginning of Junkertown. It looks like nothing's going to be changing here quite yet. Both teams returning to that tried and true, so to speak, that mirror matchup across the board. This is going to be a fascinating turnaround here. We saw Obey Alliance just barely able to scrape out all 3 points there in that 0-second overtime. And Shoes Money Crew, things already looking a little bit bleak. Joe finds Miracle straight away. No res online, no way to turn that around. And it looks like Shoes, I mean, they're just going to keep the momentum up, Genji or not.
Yeah, I mean, just walk through, walk in there, like, fair enough, right? You're on the attack, so, like, that respawn is coming in relatively quick. And look at how passive, once again, we're seeing this Widowmaker play. Like, it's so far back, trying to give so much respect, like you were talking about before.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just been all about this respect between these Widowmakers. They've both been playing so carefully, so cautiously, trying to decide kind of what is the best course of action, when do we choose to go for these eliminations. But slowly but surely, Genji finds Brig, Brig finds Genji there. Both Orisa's able to find the mortality field. Cameron does pick up Paintbrush, Cakefish, and Joe gone as well. And except for Petal, I mean, that was practically a team kill there. The Widowmaker hiding in the back line, able to make it out with her life. That may have been close enough. They might be able to get this first point cap already.
It's going to be close.
It's definitely going to be close.
Yeah, I mean, especially with this type of stagger. I mean, that's going to be brutal. Though, bucketing the Brigitte, this is... Oh, no, they're not there. They're not there. It was a nice attempt. I will give them that. Nice attempt, but not quite going to be hitting that mark. The good news is, even with that respawn on Tensa, they are going to be able to play up close and personal on this next point of Bay Alliance. So I think that they're in decent position. And, I mean, look at how hard of an angle this is for Shoes Money Crew when they come in. Like,
Absolutely.
This high ground is brutal to dislodge.
Yeah, high ground is everything. I mean, the defense here, they get to utilize that high ground in so many ways. And if I'm not mistaken, which I very well may be, but I think Shoes is sitting here around a minute to a minute and a half faster than Obey Alliance was looking at this moment. So if they can keep up this momentum, they can have a much larger time bank than the 0 seconds online. But Light already being taken out, this high ground is going to be so hard to break for Shoes Money because Obey Alliance, I mean, there realistically is a world where they can 4.5 minute hold here.
Oh, absolutely. And I think Pascal actually used his immortality field there just a moment ago down below. So that may be a tool not in the toolkit this time.
Oh, and what a phenomenal window coming out here from Paintbrush. Just trying to hand pedal these eliminations as quickly as possible, but instead Light on the McCree. Because I'm bucking. What an accretion coming out from Cakefish. They're able to take Rose's, Gravitic Flux out of the fight. Rose, however, is still going to be able to find Tensa. Pedal does pick up Cameron, but you're going to have to find a couple more kills than that to really make this worth it, especially with Miracle being so in your face, able to find that duo on the high ground. Both Baptiste and Widowmaker taken offline. Shoes Money Crew, they commit a couple of ultimates to make the magic happen, but the magic has happened nonetheless.
Yeah, and Miracle, even in the neutral, just doing so much work on that Genji. It's not something we need to undersell here as well. And
Absolutely.
Now, I mean, in addition to that, right, you've got the additional damage of Cameron's Supercharger, along with the armor that Aspen's going to give with this rally. This is a tough fight.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a tough fight indeed. Now we see the Orisa ultimates coming out on both sides. Aspen going to be committing that rally as well. Tensa does not have that rally to boot. Miracle going deeper into the back line, trying to find anything, but instead going to be caught out by that flashbang into whip shot combo there. Buck, however, able to find the support line. Cakefish does find that Sigma, Cameron, and Light fall as well. And as Athena has let us know, that is a complete and total team kill here in favor of Obey Alliance.
Yeah, it is, and what a way to dislodge a Supercharger plus Rally combo. Well, I guess if there was a way, it was going to be the Gravitic Flux and the Genji. Like, it makes sense that the Blade and Gravitic Flux would work that well. And Tensa still having this ultimate as well online on the Rally makes this fight not necessarily just free, but it certainly gives it a big advantage over to Obey Alliance. With 2 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock, playing their cards right, Obey Alliance are in really good straits.
Yeah, we see Obey Alliance. They're currently kind of at a minute 40-ish deficit of where they were at this moment, where Shoes was on that defense. So Shoes Money Crew, they've got about a minute and a half more than Obey Alliance did when they capped that second point. So realistically, winning one, maybe two fights, and they can put Shoes Money Crew in a worse position than they were in. And that's, of course, what they're going to be looking for here. We hear that Amp Matrix coming out from Paxel here on the low ground, it seems, trying to force the entirety of Obey Alliance back. And it looks like they may have been able to do just that. A new cart presence coming through, and what a pull from Cameron. They're able to pull Joe right off the high ground, but the follow-up just not there. Instead, Tensa able to find Miracles, and the Genji has fallen on 5v6 in favor of Obey Alliance. Here comes the Rabbinic Flux of a lifetime. We see Light able to find one kill onto Buck with Petal. Picks up that kill right afterward. Rose picks up Tensa in a 2-for-2 trade across the board. Paxel does find Joe, and Rabbinic Flux coming out from Cakefish, only able to find one. Might not even, will not even find the kill there, so the Rabbinic Flux not quite able to get the value they wanted. Shoes Money Crew, they're playing this slow, they're playing it patient, but they are running out of time.
They are, but they're also winning the fight.
Right.
Slowly but surely they are. And look, it's forced everyone back, and if they get the Sigma kill, it's all over. I mean, this Sigma needs to survive, and does not. That's brilliant. I wanted to give so much credit to Tensa on waiting on that rally, because it actually was really well done. Waited till the very last moment to use the rally and got the most value possible out of it, but it just wasn't enough, because when it came down to it, it just seemed like more damage was going down the field. And I have to be honest, Pascal, kind of the big name when it comes to that damage. We've talked about it so many times for Shoes Money Crew, but Pascal is a difference maker, continuing to be that right here.
Yeah, Vincent, I could not have said it better. Pascal has made such a quiet difference, but a massive one nonetheless. He has been phenomenal with these Am Matrixes. He has not been abusing these immortality kills at the wrong time. Every single time one comes out, it is a crucial fight-changing opportunity here. And now Obey Alliance, they're kind of giving us the Shoes Money Crew strat. We saw Shoes do this and it didn't work out for them, so hopefully it kind of goes a little bit better for Obey Alliance. So here comes a High Noon, here's a Blade, here's a couple of Superchargers, a Gravitic Flex. Oh, you want to rally in there as well? Let's get it in there. Miracle, Aspen, Light, and Miracle once again find these kills. Paxel picks up Joe, and that is a complete and total team kill here for Shoes Money Crew. They come in swinging every ultimate off the board, and now a Supercharger from Shoes is the only ultimate available in this upcoming fight.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if in chat they were just, hey guys, you all want to press Q? Thoughts? And that's what happened. That Charger coming in. This is the fight turner. This is what changes the entire fight around.
Yeah, and now we've seen a lot of spots coming through. A Tracer, a Hanzo, and Tenso already gone. That Brig is gone. Orisa is gone as well. Nearly a minute and a half on the clock. And Petal does find Miracle, but is it already too late? Rose and Pascal finding eliminations of their own. The Hanzo will fall. And just like that, that may have been enough. Buck, the kind of sole survivor, taken out by Pascal. That difference maker all day long. 2 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock for Shoes Money Crew. A low 60 seconds online for Obey Alliance.
And the timing on that swap from Light onto the Reaper, phenomenal.
Perfect. Flawless.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in fairness, like he died at the right time in order to get that, but made the call, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, assume it was Light who made the call, but whoever did make the call, really, really solid call, because you're just not ready for that additional damage that's close range, and it's the perfect time on a map like Junkertown where the Reaper is pretty poor in fairness for the majority of this map. Right there, point number 3, that's where Reaper finds big value. Light continuing to do just that. Every pick on point thus far for this Shoes Money Crew side when it comes to Junkertown, and they're back on the defense like you were talking about a minute and 25 seconds, the difference. And right now, Petal going to be on to the Hanzo. I think this is interesting, but I don't think a bad idea. Petal's Hanzo is really phenomenal. And listen, if you want to play the Hanzo, you think you can get something out of the Hanzo, you got to have to pull a minute 25 out the bag here.
Yeah, I mean, that minute 25 could be no time, or it could be just enough time to really make the magic happen here. And we saw Shoes Money Crew on their initial offense, they were already to that first point cap, and I believe a minute and 35 seconds around there, give or take a couple of seconds perhaps. So if they can utilize that same energy, I mean, that'll still leave them 2 minutes in the bank to continue that cart moving forward. Where, I mean, you could, considering all things considered, we see that Obey Alliance, they're already 10 seconds. They only have 50 left. Like, they have such a little time to work with here that they need to find the first elimination, or they're going to have to give up Junkertown early.
Well, and if you recall last time out, they took a long time on this one. It was
nearly
a bit
3
late.
minutes.
Yeah, so you really do need to pick this up. But just the posturing stage right now. Not wanting to give anything away, and that's fully fair enough. One fight, one mistake here from anybody on Obey Alliance, and it could be all over.
Yeah, Cakefish, looks like the mistake has been made. The Sigma will fall, and just like that, Paintbrush and Buck not far behind. Miracle going on a rampage here. Cameron able to find one. Light is going to find one as well, and Aspen takes out that counter break. A complete and total team kill. Only 10 seconds left on the clock. This is going to be a disaster here for Obey Alliance. This is almost impossible.
I mean, they even got a swap to get on the point. I mean,
the
ball. Yeah, they should be able to touch, but like, it's going to be the ball touch, which is not ideal. But look, Petal swap. Well, they swatted though. Light isn't going to get caught out, not by this one.
Yeah, now Petal trying to find Light. Eliminating that Widowmaker would make this fight notably easier here for Obey Alliance. They're looking to do just that, but Miracle only 10% away from that Blade, has it online and at the ready. Goes for that down into the Widowmaker, not quite able to find it. Might be able to, will find Buck instead. Play will be taken out by Petal. A 1-to-1 trade coming out. The Genji and Widowmaker respectively 5v5 on either side. But here comes Miracle in the back line with the Blade, trying to find the damage necessary. Petal does find Cameron. This Widowmaker desperate to keep this team fight alive, but instead the rally from Aspen, who's immediately dismissed from the fight by Petal once again. Miracle finds Cakefish and Petal. Critical condition down to 10 health. Just cannot do enough here. Joe will find Rose. And Obey Alliance may have done it. They may be able to get this cart just a little bit further.
Yeah, but with players getting out alive here, the recontest is very, very possible. I definitely think they're going to want to try it out at the very least if they're Shoes Money Crew. But, I mean, it's still not ideal scenario at the very least, because they're definitely down a bit. And, of course, if you get picked on the way in, that's even worse.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting picked on the way in would be notably worse. But now we are in overtime. They do find that first point cap. And the second they let go of this cart, that overtime timer will start ticking away. And just like that, I mean, I have seen an unbelievable amount of Team C9 on Junkertown in particular. Hopefully we don't see that here today. But every single meter counts here in this matchup. A minute and a half can make all the difference. But a single meter could make the difference all the same. Aspen once again being taken out. Petal on a rampage of their own. Able to find 2 eliminations, technically 3, with the help of Buck. They're out of the Arisa. Joe's Minefield finds 1, Buck finds Light. That is another team kill here in this overtime.
Yeah, and Petal, I mean, we talked about the clutch potential of this player, but that's the second time in a row now has found crucial kills at the right time and really pulled the team over the line. So big ultimates available as well for Obey Alliance in this one as they kind of push themselves over the edge second by second.
Yeah, absolutely. Second by second, the magic is happening, so to speak. And I just am very excited to see, is there an opportunity for Shoes Money Crew to turn this around? Or is this really the golden moment, so to speak, for Obey Alliance? They have been on a roll since that first fight win, and they have been able to keep the momentum here. Here come 3 ultimates now. Buck finds Paxel. Tensei does have to drop the beat very early, and the Gravitic Flux and Cakefish not quite able to find those eliminations. However, Cakefish going to pick up 2 eliminations in the fight with or without that Gravitic Flux. This overtime timer will not go down anytime soon. That's going to be 5 points online here for Obey Alliance.
Absolutely, and on top of that, the investments not particularly available for Shoes Money Crew. Like, I mean, yeah, they're gonna have both their tank ultimates and that blade, but I mean, it should be enough hypothetically. But honestly, this has just been really solid stuff from Obey Alliance. If Tinsa is able to get a nice stun, like, I could see this definitely still going their way.
Yeah, no, most certainly. Things were looking very bleak there on that first point, and Miracle might be able to make them look even worse here on this third point. Better late than never as Miracle finds a 3K, and just like that, we see Obey Alliance team kill the 4th one of this extra round. That's 4 in a single round. 4 team kills coming out. I think 2 for each side, actually, so that is a lot of fun there. And now, I mean, the win condition has been set for Shoes Money Crew. Are they going to be able to live up to this name?
Well, I mean, the more difficult part is, like, I think if they had gotten, like, a stop somewhere here on second point, I would have been like, okay, fair enough, right? But right. This is all the way third point.
A minute and a half. That's not a huge time bank to make it that far.
No, not at all. And I think that honestly now it just comes down to whether or not they're able to work it out on the day, on the moment, figure out, okay, what went wrong here, or not even just what went wrong, more along the lines of, okay, how can we adjust? And, well, speaking of adjustments, let me shift my focus here to the Obey Alliance side, as they've made an adjustment of their own. An interesting one of that is it's going to be a more brawly composition. The May McCree coming out here for Buck and Petal, as Joe and Cakefish going to the Reinhardt Diva as well, clearly electing to try and play this up-close and personal hold. I think that whilst a valid strategy, 2 minutes and 25 seconds is a little bit steep when it comes to holding for that long. I would be very impressed with Obey Alliance if they could actually make this close hold work.
Yeah, they're going to go for what I lovingly refer to as the Havana hold, as that is the map that has really made this strategy kind of comfortable and confident coming out from these teams. We see Light and Miracle both swapping onto the Maycree of their own here, so it's going to be almost a mirror matchup, Rose versus Cakefish, Sigma versus Diva. That's going to be kind of the difference maker on the wall coming out, a little bit of tiny Overwatch going here on the card. Nobody's really got the room to move. It's going to be all about these abilities, and Buck able to find that first crucial elimination onto Light with that old fire headshot. Pascal is going to be able to get that immortality build taken out as well, and Buck finding not one, but maybe 2, make it 2 eliminations there onto Rose as well, and already 30 seconds burned off the clock. This is working out well for Obey Alliance.
And recall, I mean, Light isn't for Chime right now, the normal player that plays that May, so it's certainly a difference that Light having to flex over, not that they can't, but certainly something to keep in mind. As Miracle down once again, it's going to have to be a second attempt, and, well, Rose is swapped off of that Sigma as well. So, and Light going to the Doomfist. So many swaps here coming through for this SMC side. Very interesting.
Yeah, kind of playing that character swap musical chairs, if you will. Constantly not really getting that ult charge. They keep jumping around character to character to character, and playing Doomfist into a McCree and a May does not seem like the best call in my opinion, but these are the pros, and Light already here to prove me wrong. Paintbrush going to be taken offline. Joe is going to fall as well with Petal with the double high noon. May have made this elimination seemingly worthless. A 3v3 turnaround here. Rose was able to find Petal just a moment too soon. Light has fallen with a massive spawn advantage here. This is looking, I mean, bleak for Shoes Money Crew here. Things starting so strong on Junkertown, but this card has not moved a single meter, and as I say it, they finally get the wheels moving once again.
Yeah, but it took so long. It really
so
did.
Long.
I mean, it took
2 minutes.
Yeah, essentially the entirety of their time bank with just that exception of 45 seconds. And I mean, I liked that Light played that Doomfist. It makes sense because of how split Bushers was playing. It's an easy pick, but now they've got to engage with this composition, and it's not a comp they're normally playing.
Yep, and Cameron kind of gets himself caught out in the front line there, Joe, with a double Earth Shatter coming through. Petal finds Light and Miracle seemingly not far behind, but here comes Cameron with a triple Earth Shatter of his own. The bomb coming out from Rose, not going to be able to find much as they were able to take cover behind the shield of Joe. 7 seconds left on the clock. Miracle is going to be able to find Cakefish, but at what cost? The wall coming up very early on from Buck. Even one elimination here in favor of Obey Alliance to crack this fight wide open and end Junkertown right here, right now. But instead, it is Shoes Money Crew coming back to life for just a moment. Miracle finds Petal and Joe, but Paintbrush is going to be able to find Light. That Doomfist is missing, but the rest of Obey Alliance may be missing as well. This is going to be a mild to severe disaster coming through. Cameron is going to be able to pick up Buck. Slowly but surely, they've got to find these eliminations much more consistently, as there's plenty of time for Obey Alliance to recontest.
Yeah, there is. I mean, they're not going to have the full thrill players back, though, and that's the other thing. So I think, yeah, probably just going to leave that alone. I think that's probably the right decision.
I agree.
From Obey Alliance. You don't want to give that fight away, because then you have to engage at the back end of this point, and that's just not ideal. You give up high ground and everything.
Right.
That's much better to have this high ground advantage if you're Obey Alliance, in my opinion, and this makes sense, especially since they're going to have some big ultimates, both DPS, the self-destruct from Cakefish, as well as Paintbrush having the window available up here, but no! There's no window available at all, Sectors.
Yeah, Paintbrush not going to exactly be available to get that garage door opened up here. Petal is going to be taken out by Light as well, and you know what? Light has made me eat my words right here on stream. The Doomfist making all the difference here in this fight. I was really nervous about the pick at the beginning, but Light just almost single-handedly, single-punchedly, whatever you want to call it, ripped Obey Alliance to shreds there. Now, the only issue is Shoes Money Crew there walking into a nearly 6 ultimate defense.
I mean, not nearly. There is going to be 6
Yeah,
ultimates.
all right.
10 to 7, 3% away. But on top of that, Light has found so much value, because on to point 2, this Doomfist is so good.
Yeah.
But this is the moment. This is the crucial time. This engagement needs to be perfect from Obey Alliance.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see Light going up and around this back line. Now we might see a High Noon through an Ant Matrix. That would be a huge pick here. But Light already finding Joe. The Reinhardt is gone. The Blizzard coming out. Here comes a Death Blossom, or excuse me, a High Noon trying to get things lined up. No kills coming through quite yet. Cakefish does find Joe, a Miracle with 2 of his own. Fucking Tensa sent back to spawn. Stuck in this overtime lineup. Cakefish will lose that mech. Light will fall to Petal, but it may already be too late for Obey Alliance. The numbers so aggressively in favor of Shoes Money Crew. They cap that second point. They are mere meters away from ripping Junkertown out from underneath Obey Alliance.
I mean, you couldn't have said it better myself. Ripping it straight from their hands.
Things look so good.
They had 6 ultimates, and somehow SMC take that victory. Look at where Miracle's playing.
Somebody has to touch.
For the flashbang, and so close.
Oh, the flashbang misses the shatter down the drain, and now this fight goes up either side. Rose has that bomb online, looks for the opportunity. Light finds one. Joe missing an Earth Shatter of his own will fall to Miracle. Now Light in the back line, finding Petal. Pascal is gone. Light gone as well. A 4v3, I believe, in favor of Shoes Money Crew here. They've got a mild spawn advantage as well, but if they all go down, the spawn advantage will not matter. Miracle does find Cakefish. And it looks like, Tensa, maybe that Soul Survivor, and there it is! Shoes Money Crew, they have secured a ripped away victory from Obey Alliance here on Junkertown. They have put themselves up 2-0 in the series, and that was, I don't want to call it lucky, that was phenomenal gameplay there for Shoes Money Crew.
No. Luck has nothing to do with this. This was highway robbery.
It truly was. It truly was.
Absolutely unreasonable. I cannot believe that they've gotten away with this, and the patience on this High Noon in the back on that last fight against the 6 ultimates. No one had any space to contest it, and they knew it. They knew that there was no one there to touch Miracle at all, and just waited the timeout perfectly. Oh my goodness, what did we just watch? That was brilliant from Shoes Money Crew.
We talked about Pascal so much, and he had 27,000 healing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he had 27,000 healing. I think it was like 30 or 40% of team damage done. Pascal, after every match so far, I've got a different MVP in my mind, and so far Pascal is just magnifique. Absolutely phenomenal so far. Doing a great job across the board. Choose Money Crew, they bring it down to the absolute wire, but they take out Junkertown. Folks, I do believe we're going to throw it to a super quick break before we move into possibly our third and final map. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes. Use this break. Go refill your water. Everybody check your posture. Get up, stretch your legs. We'll see you in just a bit with the action. Welcome back, all you tanks, healers, and damage dealers. Still Sepulence and Vincent here after that short break to bring you coming up into our third map between Choose Money Crew and Obey Alliance. And Vincent, we were talking about this during the break. This has been a phenomenal series so far.
I mean, it has. It's crazy to think that Choose Money Crew is up like they are,
right?
Considering, like. I mean, listen, I love Choose Money Crew. I think they're a phenomenal team. But what I saw yesterday versus what I'm looking at today is lights out different. I mean, it really is. It's so good to see this team making such adjustments and doing the most that they can. I want to say though, Obey Alliance, I need to see some similar adjustments here at the minute because you're sitting up against the brick wall. It's not going to be ideal, but boy, is Petal doing absolutely everything he can. Let me just say, shout out to Petal right now because Petal is popping off, trying their very best, but somehow it's just not enough. I don't know how it's not, but it hasn't been. As we take a look at the maps, we, of course, started over on Lijiang Tower, headed over to Junkertown, and now we're going to the beautiful Numbani.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this. I also want to note that SMC, they've subbed Chime back in, so I can only guess they're going to be bringing out a Symmetra one way or another. No Chime, no win, so to speak, here on this type of map. But, I mean, I'm like you said, it's baffling to think that Choose Money Crew is up 2-0 because both of those maps so far, Lijiang Tower was one stage each, 99-99 there in the final stage. Junkertown, as you all just saw moments ago, overtime, just meters of difference. They're just barely able to make it. And now, coming down to Numbani, the difference is going to have to be made right here, right now. Because like you said, Obey Alliance, they are up against a wall. They are staring a 3-0 in the face.
That they are. And I mean, listen, 3-0s, they hurt a lot when it comes to trials. We know the map diff counts. You know the map diff counts. Everybody knows the map diff counts. And whenever it comes right down to it and you're looking at the very end of the trial season and you're like, that 1-3-0, that's what got us. I'm hoping that's not going to be what Obey Alliance are saying, but I mean, like I said, they've certainly been struggling a little bit. That being said, we're getting right back into things, and there's some interesting picks happening right now, isn't there, Seth? I love this actually. I think this could be fun. We got a more classical double bubble side here from the Choose Money Crew. But on the other side of things, now, of course, this could change. We've been baited before. We're seeing a bit more of the standardized double shield type deal. So I'm very, very interested to see how this is going to go up against the likes of the Winston and the Zarya, particularly because Buck is sitting on this Reaper. That is certainly a big counter to that monkey.
Yeah, no doubt. Reaper, he's not exactly the tank buster he used to be, but he's certainly one of the best characters in the game to deal with said tanks. And now I'm very curious to see if that Reaper is going to make difference here. It's really difficult on Numbani in particular to get in those close quarters lineups against those tanks. So Buck is going to have to probably teleport in, maybe even just Wraith in and pray he gets out. But I really do think the Reaper could be a huge difference maker, and it certainly will be there as Cameron is just ripped to absolute shreds. Buck will also fall, but losing the Winston so early on could be a disaster for SMC here.
It absolutely is. There's no doubt about whether that's good or bad. And it was actually not even it wasn't even Buck. It was just Petal flashbang, right click, easy does it, and it was all over.
Yeah, no, it was certainly just all over from the moment it started there. That Winston Cameron did not exactly get the momentum that he wanted, and now it's going to be a lot of value for SMC that we're actually able to stall that fight out long enough for Cameron to return. But as soon as Cameron shows up, Miracle's going to fall instead. So still another 5v6, 4v6 to be fought as Aspen will fall as well. And Obey Alliance, I've got to say, we talked about we need to see some changes. They are already looking much cleaner. Look who's lighting up the kill feed. Petal all over again, doing the absolute most for Obey Alliance.
And I mean, listen, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer by any means, but what I will say is that this compositionally is very, very one-sided. Because Choose Money Crew just is at it's a composition that they're being countered by in multiple ways.
Right,
the halt is really, really rough on how they want to play when it comes to splitting off the rest of the team. It also just stops the mobility characters like Miracle. And then on top of that, Light, it's going to be really hard to find any sort of biotic grenades when it comes down to double shield.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. I mean, we see the Winston, the double bubble comp is built all the way around Winston diving in. You've got a flashbang and a Reaper staring you in the face. I mean, you can never dive in when you want to. So I think that's going to be something to kind of be worried about. Chime there, Miracle, I really liked that pulse bomb onto Petal. Unfortunately, they did miss, but also the immortality field was there to get things lined up. But now, here comes the nanoed Winston trying to save the day if he's able, but unfortunately, Cakefit going to be taken out. Cameron, I think, getting his first elimination of the game. Not exactly the best of luck so far with that DPS line cost instantly staring him in the face. Rose has that grab as well, might commit it here, has a bit of a freebie if they choose to, but they've already won the fight, and committing such an aggressive ultimate would probably not be the best call.
No, I think probably for the best to fall back, but
no.
Chime is forced to use that ultimate to get out of there. That's absolutely devastating.
Yeah, Minutemen immediately taken out of it. No value on the Reaper there. Taken out, will be eliminated as Echo as well. Here comes a Death Blossom. Kind of insult to injury from Buck. You find a kill. This fight was very, very won. So that Death Blossom kind of, like I said, insult to injury coming through. And a team kill coming through for Obey Alliance. They're getting danger close to completing Streets phase already.
Yeah, and I think that this swap is coming maybe even a little bit too late, to be completely honest with you here, Septilence. It's a situation where you just see the difference in the composition, and it just is inherently a problem. And so now going to be on to the more brawly composition, which is actually really strong against the double bubble, but you have to close the the double shield, my apologies. You have to close the distance out. That's going to be the biggest ask for this brawl.
Yeah, I mean, D.Va gets such little value while these shields are up. She really needs to be grinding into them, getting through them if she has to, and trying to find any kind of value on it. Now, I see the DPS back to that McCree like they were on Junkertown, and that did make a huge difference at the end of the day, but it made a huge difference when they were close. And now, I mean, that's 2 team kills in a row. Shoes Money Crew, they can't even find their footing because there's not even ground to stand on at this point.
No, I mean, it's crumbling beneath their feet, behind them, in front and left, right, and center. As they've swapped so often now that they just don't have ultimates, and they're getting rolled by the ultimate diff right now. Yeah. It's not even their fault. It's just an unfortunate scenario.
Oh, no way. An Ant Matrix High Noon, Petal does decide to give up on it instead. I think that could have been huge had the Maywall not kind of shown its face, so to speak. Miracle on the McCree going to be taken out by Petal on that counterpart. 90% away from that supercharger, but they may not even need it as Chime is just ripped up. Cameron and Aspen not far behind. Buck not quite able to find much more with that Death Blossom, but he may have found just enough. 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Not a colossal time bank, but I mean a pretty darn tootin' big one here on Numbani.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can say for certain that when it comes down to Numbani, 3 minutes 50 seconds is absolutely enormous. This is one of the longer, at least it feels like one of the longer ones. I don't actually know what the longest, the actual cart is on hybrid, but it certainly feels that way. It's also quite difficult because of how hard point 2 can be. It's there's a lot of scenarios that make it very difficult, but regardless of that, I think that Obey Alliance did a wonderful job taking advantage of what was just compositionally a superior look, and then turning that into a full victory even after Shoes Money Crew made adjustments. Now you can see Shoes Money Crew, they kind of have to play a bit more passive. They have to kind of take the safe bet, so to speak, on their attack. And it's interesting. We are going to see Joe commit to this Winston as well, but there's no Reaper on the other side. And whilst Chime can certainly be very, very deadly, it's not going to be the same sort of threat, I don't believe.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with that, Vincent. And I'm also looking at Shoes Money Crew here. They only have 1 stun. It's Aspen's Shield Bash. So something that's going to be... I mean, Joe's going to get a little bit of free reign here. I mean, maybe Rose can land the accretion, but other than that, Joe really doesn't have much to be worried about just diving in.
Yeah, well, and I mean, especially with the D.Va, that's going to do wonders to really limit Miracle's effectiveness when it comes down to the dynamites and everything. So I think overall this composition working pretty solidly. A couple of adjustments though for Choose Money Crew, and I think this is maybe would become a bit problematic for Obey Alliance. They've just got to play the right counter picks.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's going to make it a little bit easier for SMC if Obey Alliance just gives up the high ground. I'm not completely sure why they chose to do that, but it's definitely going to hurt them a little bit here as SMC can really move in and get a lot of value early on. Petal, however, is going to find a massive dynamite off the back of it, so it's kind of it's a bit of a mirror matchup here in the DPS department. The Ashe Echo versus Ashe Echo Buck. Will find Chime with that beam. Petal picks up Light as well, finds Miracle, a massive dynamite there. It's going to be a disaster for SMC, already a minute off the clock.
Where's SMC that we saw last map?
They're gone.
They just don't seem to exist right now because I don't know if it's a mindset change or what, or if this is just not a map they practice nearly as much. I mean, it is Losers Pick, if you recall. So, like this is maybe something they've a little bit less experience with, but we already see another swap, make it a couple of swaps. It's going to be Miracle going on to the Tracer, whilst Cameron and Rose move back to this more double bubble type style. And I mean, honestly, this is a good swap regarding the fact that they're playing against another dive composition, but is it too little too late once again? There's 2 minutes and 36 seconds on the clock here, so.
Yeah, I always say better late than never, but this may still be a little bit too late here. Only 2.5 minutes left. I'm also confused on why Cameron's on Winston instead of Rose. We saw Rose was phenomenal on that Winston earlier today. You'd expect to see that same thing, but instead it's going to be Cameron coming out on the Winston of their own. 4 ultimates, nearly 5 at the ready on the side of Obey Alliance. Still sitting at a fat 0 ultimates here on the side of SMC. They just swapped so late into the fight that they've got such little time to charge their ultimates, and Buck coming in on this Echo might be able to find a massive Primal Rage, but a great sleep from Light was able to keep them down. Rose ult fires into the Winston, wakes them back up. The Primal Rage not going to be able to get exactly who they wanted to.
No, not at all. And I mean, even though the re-engage is somewhat available with Aspen's usage of the rally, it's so much invested. Look at how great they've done it, just forcing back this main tank.
Yeah, absolutely. Just forced back down on the low ground. Cameron does end up finding Petal off the back of it, but you've already lost one of your players. We see Aimbob kind of keeping an eye on Cameron in the back line as well. Joe finds Rose off the map with that Primal Rage. Light does pick up Joe. Miracle finds another, and SMC, they have committed nearly everything they have into this fight. They're going to have to win this one.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not Septilence. I don't think they're coming out on top. It's such a split fight, and maybe they can get away with this, but I mean, they are going to get a tick. So not all lost here, in fairness. But with Buck taking down Trime once again, how much can they get away with? Are they just giving this away? No.
No, okay, they're gonna make it just. I was getting a little bit worried about that as well, but Buck finding such a crucial elimination onto Light. That was a massive grab from Rose, found both tanks, but there was nobody to follow up off the back of it. Now, poor Aspen stuck on the point by herself, cannot do anything about it. Miracle found Buck, but at what cost? 55 seconds left on the clock. You've got 2, almost 3 ultimates to work with, but SMC, like you said, this is not the team we just saw on Lijiang and Junkertown.
No, not at all. And I was going to say, at the very least, Rose still has a Graviton Surge. Well, no, not anymore. I'm going to have to utilize that later on in that fight. And it's left Trime and Cameron alone with these ultimates. Yes, Light going to have one as well, but it's just not seeming to be quite enough, especially with that rally that Tensa has.
Absolutely. Now Cameron here, he's got a great opportunity to funnel all of Obey Alliance into that tunnel, but then chooses to kind of let them out a little bit of time with the double beam. Is going to be able to find the Winston and the Echo, trying to funnel a little bit more damage onto the supports, hiding up here on the high ground. Here comes Cameron, one angry monkey, just forcing the supports off the point, and just like that, Rose finds a double, Trime picks up Tensa, and better late than never, but SMC does cap that first point.
Yeah, but it seems like it was almost, I mean, I don't want to say lucky, because it's never luck, but, in the chaos that was that fight, they just found the extra tick needed, right? And that's just what kind of came down. It was not necessarily that they were, doing a phenomenal job on that point, but once they did cap it, it just kind of all fell their way. But, listen, like you said, better late than never, absolutely. And now that they've actually capped point number 2, they can certainly make it to point 3 and pick up a full capture and make this a bit more of a interesting game.
Absolutely. Now the dive coming out there, Cameron able to get in and just find so much value. Cakefish trying to pick up the elimination off the back of it, but the Winston just able to make it out. He had the bubble, he had the help. Buck now with a Primal Rage of their own, just going toe-to-toe here, trying to find anything and trying to help out Joe, but Joe instead will be the first to fall. Both Primal Rages and not a single elimination on the side of Obey Alliance there. Joe was the only one being taken out. 1.5 minutes left, and I always like to refer to the Numbani street space as either the fight is 5 minutes long or 30 seconds long, and here looks like we're going to see that 30-second fight. Bob rushing in, he's going to be able to recontest 0.16 meters away from point there. The Cakefish able to find Chime. Obey Alliance very well, maybe able to turn this one back in their favor.
I mean, it's looking like it. Even though the grab is utilized there by Rose, it doesn't get much of anything because of the nano boost, and that's what's a bit scary. Continued investment here from SMC has been a consistent problem.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Cameron does have that Primal. Might be able to do the very same thing he did on first point. Just knock the enemy team away just long enough for his team to stall things up and get this point capped. But it's just, there it is. I mean, is this really the strategy that is working for SMC? That is shocking to see. That's the second time they've done it here on Numbani. They've got to do it one more time. And I mean, even best case scenario, they finish with a much smaller time back than Obey Alliance.
I mean, listen, Sup, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Absolute.
I mean, I'm with you. It's a very weird, odd strategy, and look at how much it cost them. It was literally everything. Like, they had to even invest that duplicate. Like, it's not very effective, at least not for the long term, but, I mean, if it does it well enough to get them the point, fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it has done them a phenomenal justice here. It's not something you see from the teams very often, but it's been working out nonetheless. And now, Obey Alliance, they're coming back in full swing. Joe finding a double Tensa, taking out Light in that fight. Going to be over. Not much happening there. A couple of ultimates going to be farmed up on both sides, but 90 seconds. Things are not looking good for Shoes.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happens when you utilize so many of those ultimates to cap the point. You don't have anything left in the tank, and only Tense's rally necessary to pull them over the line for a Bay Alliance in that fight. And in fact, huge ultimates coming up online. In fact, five of them very, very close. With the minute 13 on the clock, this could be problematic. Rose needs to find some really solid value out of this Graviton Surge, something we haven't seen happen all that often.
Yeah, and here's the nano coming on to Joe. It looks like you're going to be able to find a lot of damage. Going to have to bail out just a little bit, but Buck in the back line still going to be able to get the value off the back of that kill. Joe just farming forward. They found that Ana. Again, the main support missing. That's going to make this so much harder for Shoes. 48 seconds. They've got one more attempt to finish in overtime, and then they have to stall for 4 minutes just to tie. So things are looking very bleak for Shoes Money Crew here.
But it's another good job of limited investment there by Obey Alliance, and they keep some tools in their toolkit. Of course, the Bob as well, possible now by Petal, and that can, in fact, complicate things further.
Yeah, it most certainly complicate things just a little bit further here. Now here comes that Bob, everybody's favorite aimbot coming back into the matchup here. Petal is going to be able to get a little bit of value, forces Chime out of that transformation. Chime will find that Vengeance kill, but it may already be too late. Cameron finds one. Petal's Bob does pick up Chime at the end of the day. Cameron just juggling to the best of his abilities. Joe doing the very same, and neither of them able to find even a single elimination. The bomb coming out from Cakefish on the point. Petal committing that Bastion. This is going to be interesting. I don't think they're really going to need it, but definitely a good choice here as they have to go right down this straightaway to get to that third and final cap.
I mean, yeah, like, is it necessary? I would agree, maybe not so much, but again, like you said, closing this distance is a brutal thing to find out, and well, they are pushing this point, are the Shoes Money Crew, so maybe, just maybe, they could pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them do it on Junkertown. They did what seemed to be the impossible, and they might be able to do that here. But Joe, Rose is going to be taken out there. Chime does find Joe, so a tank falling on both sides. A massive spawn advantage in favor of Obey Alliance for the time being. And Buck just farming almost completely for free here in the back line, putting so much pressure onto Light and Aspen. Cameron gonna push in, gonna get stunned out, and maybe eliminated for it, but no, Chime able to find two. They're desperate to make this happen here for Shoes Money Crew. Might be able to find the Ana, but will be taken out by Cakefish instead. The card is a moving, but the closer they get, the better the spawn advantage gets here for Obey Alliance. Miracle is gonna able to find Buck into the pulse bomb. Not quite able to find anything yet. Joe, there's that Primal Rage I was waiting for. Able to stall out, gonna be able to find Light here, and Shoes Money Crew, they're going to have to watch Numbani kind of just trickle away. Not much can be done.
I mean, what a valiant effort, though, trying to get in there.
No
the
doubt,
coordination on that dive, yeah. Aspen, she does have the sound barrier, sure, and it does net you one back, but the spawn advantage is so brutal if you are Shoes Money Crew right now that I don't know you're able to pull it back unless you get some huge big value ultimate.
I mean, you need to be getting ultimates with 2, 3, 4 eliminations to really make this fight even possible to win. But Obey Alliance, they did have the spawn advantage of the Sentry, Numbani, Notorious, those payload maps, or escort maps in particular, just kind of have that opportunity to give the defense such an aggressive spawn advantage. You can see it on every single escort map, every single hybrid map, and it's just a great look. We've already been forced into map 4, and honestly, I couldn't be more excited. I love these teams. I love the value that we've seen so far, and it's just been nothing short of incredible. The adaptation coming out from Obey Alliance to win this third map is going to be great. Now we have to see, can Shoes Money Crew bring it back here in map 4?
Yeah, no 3-0 victory, not this time out for SMC, but I have to ask the question, and realistically, what happened to Rose? What happened?
Rose was on Zarya.
I mean, Rose, but I've seen Rose play Zarya really, really well at an incredibly high level, but this time out, not so much. Cakefish doing a wonderful job of kind of taking the reins and running with them in that duel. You and I talked during the break a little bit about how Rose was having a phenomenal series up until this point, but on Numbani, it really did feel like it was Cakefish taking the reins, really pushing over the edge this Obey Alliance side, and beyond that, by the way. The usage there of the cooldowns by Tensa in order to just deny so much space whenever it was the Winston v. Winston, really phenomenal job. I think that the Brigida play was really, really solid. Again, I don't mean that to take anything away from the Brigida play on the other side of things, but realistically, Tensa really impressed me on that Brigida as opposed to what we were seeing before. It's kind of been a back and forth series, and unsurprisingly, because of the fact that loser gets to pick, Obey Alliance going to a map that they fancy, and they certainly do fancy it.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see, jumping into Temple of Anubis. I hope that we get to see my man Junkrat back. We haven't seen him since Lijiang Tower, and he is my favoriteest character in the whole game, even though I am a tank player. But I just think Junkrat is very neat.
Why do you do this to yourself?
I don't know. I just think he's neat. I enjoy him. But now Temple of Anubis, I'm very excited to see kind of, is Shoes Money Crew going to be able to bring things back here? I'm curious as to why they would choose that Temple of Anubis coming through. Maybe they've got a lot of faith on Chime playing Symmetra, or perhaps they're going to be bringing out that Junkrat again. Obey Alliance, if they need to tie things up here, all of a sudden we talked about they were at the brick wall. They would be able to push SMC all the way back.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing about it is, right, like Temple of Anubis, this is interesting because it is so, I should say it can be so dive-centric, especially on point number 1, but then once you get to point number 2, it's basically a brawl v brawl.
It's sim-centric normally.
Well, yeah. I mean, fair enough. There's a lot of strategies you can go for. Honestly, I don't think I've seen this in the current meta, or at least like this version of the meta, so to speak, when it comes to trials. So I think it's going to be a surprise no matter what we see, but it wouldn't be all that crazy to see a Junkrat like you were talking about on the defense, especially. That can absolutely have big value, even in a more divey composition like a double bubble. I think that still provides a lot of phenomenal value, but we'll have to see. Regardless, what we're looking at right here is, I mean, I said dive, and it seems like that might be the way to go for the time being. Cameron and Rose going for that Winston Diva. This is very, very standard, I would say, with regard to the dive on point number 1 here.
I would almost expect the tank lines to be swapped. Normally, I feel you see the Wrecking Ball on the offense rather than the defense, and it doesn't mean it's not going to work, because you can still do that pile drive hook combo, which makes these two so aggressive as a tank duo. But Cameron and Rose, I think they're really going to struggle, especially with Cakefish hanging out on this Roadhog. If Winston dives in, I mean, one good hook and he's going to die. So it's going to be very crucial on these placements of the dive and how quickly Rose is going to be able to follow up on this Diva as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of pressure on Rose based on this composition, especially if Cakefish sticks on this Roadhog, which looks like they're just scouting right now, looking for the information from Joe, and then they're going to make adjustments if needed. But it looks like that might stick around. No, Joe's interesting. This
makes more sense.
Does it? Does it? Orisa offense?
I think solo tank? I think they're going to look for the shield as an engagement, and they're going to use Cakefish the same way you'd use a Wrecking Ball. But I think they're really going to need that shield, because we see Miracle with the Dynamite. We know Chime has those bombs kind of on standby, so I think they need that shield to get through here. Otherwise, they just are going to be feeding ultimates to SMC.
So here's the issue that I see, Sept. I just don't see how they close the distance. That's the difficult part of this comp.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. I mean, the closing the distance is certainly going to be a bit of a difficult turnaround there, and I'm curious to see if Joe, like you said, can make the Orisa work. Now, there's another question: why Orisa instead of Reinhardt? Reinhardt is not exactly a mainstay on this map, but he's still pretty common. We see him relatively often, and they've made the slow rotation up and around through this Mega Room, so maybe they're able to, find that small high ground advantage. They're going to be able to get themselves up and over into the choke, so they've made it past the first choke, have to make their way through the second. This is a very odd approach coming out from Obey Alliance. If anything, I feel like they're just kind of burning their own time back.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like what's to stop Choose Money Crew from just rotating away? That's what they do. They're a dive comp.
Right.
That's why that's more of why I'm questioning the Orisa in this. But hey, again, maybe there's something I don't know. They could definitely make this work. It's just an interesting rotation.
Yeah, certainly an interesting rotation, and Cakefish going to dive deep into the back line here, Fuck. Trying to get a little bit of value there in the line, but already somehow Miracle's got that Bob online. Chime and Miracle will be taking off with Bob, trying to make out for those missing DPS. It's going to be a difficult fight for SMC to win, but I mean, if we see Obey Alliance win this and they are able to cap point, I mean, those 2 minutes they burn will hardly matter.
You're absolutely right, but I'm so confused. Like, SMC, they just kind of let themselves get caught out. They had no need to be in there.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions about this. This has been a very weird map so far, and I think that might be why it's working out so well for Obey Alliance, because nobody expects whatever they're doing. Like, this is so out of pocket. This is not something that we see very often. Now, Chime with the Death Blossom, they get stunned out of it, forced out of that Reaper as well. And speaking of Death Blossom's Buck, trying to show us one of his own, not able to find any eliminations off the back with the bomb coming out from Rose, Primal Rage coming out from Cameron. We see already almost all 3 ticks coming through on the side of Obey Alliance, but I mean, SMC, they commit every single ultimate they have, but they are able to secure that. Only 90 seconds left on the clock.
I mean, the best part of that entire fight was the re-engagement from SMC. Just to be entirely honest about it, like I said, it really felt like Paintbrush, very well placed on the Ant Matrix, but there was no real reason for SMC to get caught out by it. It felt like they should have been able to get behind cover, but not quite able to do just that. And now, again, the rotations are solid. SMC can really force a difficult push for this Obey Alliance side. And with a minute left on the clock, they don't have 2 minutes to burn.
Yeah, no, they certainly do not. They've got 60 seconds left on the clock. They've got a supercharger, a bomb, and there's that Ant Matrix. But if SMC just hides around the corner and burns out that Ant Matrix, I mean, Obey Alliance gains nothing here. Now, Miracle going to be committing that bomb as well. Petal is able to find that first elimination. Here comes that Nano and Winston now. Cameron trying to find any kind of value. He's able to stuck around that back corner. Petal going to be able to find Miracle's bomb as well. Cakefish has the bomb. Might commit it just to open up the point long enough. Petal with a high noon might be able to find an elimination if he's lucky, but May's going to be able to find that D-Mac. Cameron will fall as well. 30 seconds left on the clock, but it looks like they have done it. Buck with the triple kill, and Obey Alliance just barely able to find Temple of Anuba's first point.
Yeah, and there was a lot of tentative looking there from Cameron, not wanting to really give away anything. Honestly, very unsure where to dive, and that is, I mean, a positive thing about this competition is, what do you dive? There is quite literally no dive targets. Like it's McCree, and that's not ideal. What is that?
What a bio nade! Light hits 4! Looks like all 4 of them are going to be able to survive, but just barely. Petal and Tensa. Critical condition.
I mean, just way to immediately stop a push. And just get 4 bio nades. Like that's huge.
My best guess is Light just threw that up in the air, and they just walked right into it. I would love to see that back. I'm going to go back and watch that later on, see if we can get a better view of what happened there. But Light, I mean, what a bio nade! Able to just rip that push apart. There's not even an attempt after that. And we see Miracle gonna have another bomb at the ready. They've got the Nano, they've got the rally, they've got the transformation. Speaking of rallies and Ant Matrix, here come Tensa and Cakefish. Here comes Ultimates of their own buck with the death loss perhaps of a lifetime. Able to find one, takes Light offline. Here's a rally. The Nano is out. The bomb from Cakefish. Able to find 2. The bomb from Rose not able to find even 1. This is looking like a bit of a disaster for Shoes Money Crew here. This is, I can't say it enough, such a weird team comp coming out from Obey Alliance. Such a weird strategy here of Temple of the News, but it is working wonders.
So just to be clear, once you get here, this is not that weird of a strategy. This is a very solid strategy.
Right.
Like once you're in this position, because you can close the distance reasonably well. There's lots of areas to push that back, and this makes sense. But the back on point 1, it certainly was odd. Though recontest, I mean, this is the recontest point. Maybe. Just maybe they'll be able to get away with this, and we are into a pause here, Steptolin. So not sure what happened, but oh wait, we're getting right back underway.
Psych! Zach cranked. There's no pause coming through here. Joe was able to find Miracle right before that. Picks up Rose as well. So this Orisa making all the difference here at the end of the day. It looks like we're gonna get that second tick online. 90 seconds left on the clock, and we see Shoes Money Crew really struggling to find a consistent re-engage. Cameron gonna be taking out Aspen. I don't think she's gonna be too far behind. Now Chime on the Doomfist, not really able to find anything. Gonna be taken out mid-air by Cakefish. That rally coming out from Tensa, just gonna make this all the easier for Obey Alliance now. Things were looking better about a minute ago, but recontest here has just been so consistent from SMC. They've really been able to burn this time bank down.
Yeah, I mean, every little second counts, I guess you could say, and not quite under a minute. So I think that SMC, whilst it's a valiant effort, they're probably not too happy about that.
Right.
In that they were looking for that under the minute
5
mark.
more seconds.
Even if they did a good job, as it was, in all honesty, they were looking for just that little bit more. But right. I kind of want to go back to this conversation about how this composition works, because I think it's a really interesting discussion. But the key, right, is the rotations on point number 1 and closing that distance. They're not able to do that very effectively, but what they ended up doing was basically utilizing that as a poke comp, because there wasn't any forward shield pressure on with the dive, right? Like, who's putting forward shield pressure down? It's going to be your, I mean, at most it's going to be Chime and Miracle, but
right.
and Miracle was playing the long hit scan DPS and was putting pressure down elsewhere, really trying to control sightlines. And so it actually did very well to allow Joe's shield to stay very healthy. And then they just kind of forced enough resources out of that dive to where they just had to sit in a corner until they had no resources left, at which point they were absolutely boned. So I asked a lot of questions. I was really, really concerned, but this was a really intelligent composition. I think it's very smart from what they've done. And now, as they've adjusted, they look to do a similar thing here on the defense to Obey Alliance. And it makes a lot of sense to me, as they're just going to run that double shield, kind of play this a bit more passively. Plus, they have a lot more resources with this specific composition that makes it a bit easier.
Yeah, I'm curious to see why they've got Aspen on the Mercy here, whether that's going to be to damage boost Chime as they're doing right now, maybe to damage boost Miracle who swapped out of that Ash, or maybe just for the resurrections, but I definitely think it's an odd choice. And speaking of odd, here come Cameron and Rose on that double shield comp. The Orisa coming out on first point, not something you see every day on that offense, but it worked out well already for Obey Alliance, and I'm curious to see if Shoes Money Crew can bring that same heat.
Yeah, well, with the additional shield as well, that certainly gives you a lot more options.
Oh,
I think.
absolutely.
And there's that res that you were talking about coming straight into fruition as Buck has already done wonders finding that opening pick.
Yeah, now Buck was able to find that first elimination early on. They forced out that res, so now the next elimination will be a guaranteed walk back from spawn. Petal with a very lucky headshot there, going to be able to take Miracle out of the fight, so 5v6 in favor of Obey Alliance. Here, Shoes Money Crew, they're going to get caught in the Mega Room, and it looks like they're not going to be able to make it out with their lives. Rose will fall, and Obey Alliance, they are just holding W into the survivors of Shoes Money Crew. Chime does find one, but at the cost of every single teammate that was alive. Tensa does find Aspen with that shield bash kill, so that's fun. Not something you see every day, but Light will fall as well. Already over a minute off the clock.
Yeah, this is very nicely done from Obey Alliance. They've really controlled the pace of play. It's made it very difficult for really any of SMC to get forward positions. And beyond that, right, like they've got some solid ultimates coming in line here as well. As long as they use Paintbrush's Ant Matrix in a solid position, they can, in fact, stall this out further.
Yeah, absolutely. The stall is kind of the name of the game, so to speak. That's exactly what they're going to be looking for, trying to find that value available. And Chime is going to make that stall a little bit harder. They're going to be able to find that McCree, take Petal offline, and going to have to walk back from spawn. But instead, Chime going to be caught up in the back line by Buck, who's going to have to give up the fight. They know they have that Mercy pocket, and winning a 2v1 is a very hard thing to do. Cameron was able to find Kingfish in the lineup as well, so Gravitic Flux is gone. That Sigma Shield is gone. This is a phenomenal opportunity for SMC to move forward and find the value that they want. They're stuck in this mini room. Rose does find another kill on Tensa. Buck not far behind, and Chime just storming in on the Orisa. The horse has kicked the doors down and is walking right into the face of Obey Alliance. That was a pretty clean push. I mean, kudos to SMC there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a reason that 2-2-2 locks a thing. 3 tanks is ridiculous, and
yeah.
Chime doing a great job of showing us exactly why that is. That does leave Cameron with this supercharger as well, the real one this time, and that could really crack open this point.
Absolutely, yeah, like you said, the real Supercharger online this time from the side of SMC. But now we see Gravitic Flux, Supercharger, and Rally, as well as High Noon, going to be at the ready for Obey Alliance. They've got nearly 4.5 minutes to stall. They need to stall 3.5 if they want to give them a similar time bank, if not worse. Gravitic Flux from Cavefish. Able to find some damage, but no eliminations quite yet. Light with the Gravitic Flux, excuse me, with the Amplification Matrix, going to be able to help the entirety of SMC move forward and get hyper aggressive. Rose finds Petal, Chime finds Joe, Paintbrush picks up Chime, and these eliminations not coming through as quickly for SMC as they need them to.
Yeah, but I mean, look, they got so many ults out of this Obey Alliance side, and somehow Joe has found 3 kills on the ball. Are you serious? That looked so good for SMC. They forced 4 ultimates without losing a single player, and then Joe just swaps the ball and suddenly finds 4.
Yeah, and then just swaps back to Orisa. All in a day's work. He's like, whatever, I'm just going to be back in the Orisa here. But now, yeah, that was, I mean, Joe single-handedly stopping SMC, just kind of catching them by the face and not letting them run any further there. 3.5 minutes, basically 2.5 if SMC wants to have that larger time bank. And now, Obey Alliance, they've got Petal back on the Hanzo. They've got that Sonic Arrow to give a lot of good information here. This is going to be a difficult push here, I think, for SMC. But now Aston committing that Valkyrie very early on. Paintbrush committing an Amplification Matrix of his own, kind of going back and forth, toe-to-toe a little bit in terms of support ultimates. Other than that, this is a bit of a dry fight. Nobody's got the ultimate online quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, basically just trading those support ultimates in order to gain space makes a lot of sense. Now with the engagement actually coming through, you can start to see something real come forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of engagement, I mean, Chime back on that Sigma. We talked about it, 3 tanks. That is
no
darn tootin' tough, but
no touch.
Notice, I was so invested in the triple tank that. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. That's super rough. Look at the time bank. 250 to 104. 250 to 104. Oh, that hurts. They backed out. They backed out too hard. Every single one of them just tucked tail and ran.
Man, okay, listen. That is kind of what happens. I can tell you from personal experience, when you're calling and you're playing a composition like this one, where you back up in order to get more space, and you're playing a poke, you just get in that backup mindset. You're like, guys, we just need to back up, and you just back up too far, and you gave too much space. That's so unfortunate, because honestly, That totally could have gone the way of Obey Alliance.
Exactly. You beat me to it. I mean, that SMC could win the series because of that blunder. That could be unbelievably crucial for Obey Alliance. I mean, that hurts. That hurts for so many reasons. But SMC, they've got nearly triple the time bank that Obey Alliance has at the ready. To think it took Obey Alliance over 2 minutes to cap first point last time.
True.
This is going to be tough.
But, there's a big but in the way, Septilence. Remember last time, the difference in the time banks were fairly similar, and what we saw go down all the way to third on Junkertown. I don't know if the time banks mean anything at all in this one.
Yeah, but these teams have shown us one thing. The time banks do not matter, because they took it down to the wire on Junkertown. And now, I mean, we're going to have to see Obey Alliance engage a little bit faster than they did. Like I said, it took them nearly 2 minutes to do it last time. Miracle hitting a phenomenal dynamite early. I mean, that's a great start for SMC.
But it's forced out paintbrushes in Wartfield as well. That's such a big piece of utility that's being used. And speaking of big, that was huge.
Just through the window.
Yeah, taking big damage out. That's just forced time. This is the one thing they don't have.
No! Paintbrush! Oh, that has to be it. That has to be it. The main support is gone. There goes Joe. The main tank is gone. Chime is just single-handedly ripping Obey Alliance to shreds here. There is no mercy. There is no touch. There is no contest because Obey Alliance, they were just ripped apart by an Orisa here. The break doesn't even get to touch the ground as Chime picks up a 4K in a crucial moment for SMC there. That was... Oh, man. I mean, I don't often like to say a single player is the reason a team wins a fight, but Chime just single-handedly secured that fight for SMC.
I mean, let's just be real. Chime starts the fight, forces the Immort, right?
Yep.
Gets massive damage with the next stickies, finds the kill on the Batiste on the next go-around, and then gets a second kill after that.
That was best case scenario for SMC. That was literally the best possible thing that could have happened. And talk about luck of the draw. I mean, that is the absolute. I cannot think of a better scenario.
Just absolutely phenomenal work from Chime, and you just cannot teach that.
Literally.
You cannot teach that. It's just those plays that come out and really make the difference for a team, and Chime making those plays at the moment. And here's the worst part about that is that Cakefish being on the Diva, I would have said, like, why are you on the Diva necessarily? It would have been better with the Sigma on paper, but the whole point of the Diva is to eat those sticky bombs.
Right.
And Cakefish couldn't make it happen, and that's just that goes to show how good Chime is at finding those timings.
Yeah, I think Chime did a great job of baiting out Cakefish's defense matrix right beforehand as well. It was just that immediate, like, okay, use it all quickly, and then immediately took out Paintbrush right afterward. It was calculated, it was careful, and it was genius. And SMC now, we're looking at Chime. Are you going to do it again? I mean, is it going to be as easy for you on this offense as it was on that defense? SMC, they're going to be playing it slow. They're going to be patient. Petal has that Dynamite off cooldown here in just a moment. And Dynamite can deal a lot of damage very quickly if you're not careful, especially if it's damage boosted. But Petal does not have that ability quite yet. Chime, guess who's already hiding in the back line, just looking for an opportunity to take one of those supports offline with a damage boost. Nonetheless, now that is a massive Mine's already halfway to that transformation, just about. Rose is going to find that immortality field, and it is going to be an absolute heyday for SMC here if they can find just one elimination.
Yeah, I mean, and look at how they're doing a great job of just putting pressure from left, right, and center. The up above from Chime, everybody being pressured on this LB Alliance side, making things very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And there it is. Chime tracking the fight wide open. Cakefish will be taken out. Here's the swap onto the Orisa. Okay, that's spicing things up a little bit. Gonna be able to find the bring as well. Chime is just rolling the triple kill, making a quadruple kill as Chime, the Orisa, the virtual horse comes through and just carries the entirety of SMC to a 3-1 victory over Obey Alliance. Talk about a solo performance. Chime, I mean, coming in hot here on Temple of Anubis.
Wow. Well,
no shock. No shock. Playing the game.
Wait. Who else could it be?
Honestly, no one.
Like, come on, dude. What an incredible performance here. I mean, chef's kiss, everything going the way of Chime, and beyond that. Like, the adjustments made, everything working out perfectly. 13 duplicate kills,
13
by the
duplicate
way.
kills!
If we're just counting, that's incredible. Triumph is a monster on that Echo, let me tell you. And like you said, I rarely say that a map was won or lost by a single play.
But Chime. I mean...
Chime making that play on the defense, right? And then following it up with that play of the game we just saw on the offense. I have no qualm saying Chime won that map, at least when it came to the overtime period for SMC. Really solid stuff from Shoes Money Crew. What a turnaround from yesterday as well, where they looked a bit shaky. Now, everybody firing on all cylinders. Cameron had had some great play as well, I have to say. I feel like I've not said that name very often, but in this case, it was more, if you're not doing anything wrong, you're doing the right thing kind of play from the main tank. So really impressive. I love what Shoes Money Crew put on display there. And despite the fact that OB Alliance had a relatively solid performance.
Yeah, no, absolutely. OB Alliance, I feel they did very little wrong. I feel Shoes Money Crew was just simply better. And another name we didn't say often, which surprises me, Aspen, one of the best support players in the region, is just, it's shocking. It goes to show how strong the rest of the team was today, that her name was hardly one coming out of our mouths. So, I mean, just Shoes Money Crew, we talked about at the beginning, they had to make some changes from yesterday, and by golly, did they. They made a huge difference. And I'm not sure if we're going to have an interview. I haven't heard quite yet if we've got an interview coming through.
Indeed.
But yeah, we will be throwing into a super short break. We're going to be back with an interview in just a moment. And folks, I don't know about you, but I'm very excited to hear about what whichever player we end up with has to say about this series. Don't go far. We'll see you in just a minute. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back from that short break. Still Septilance and Vincent here to bring you an interview with somebody from Shoes Money Crew, the Flex support player, Pascal. How you feeling, my friend?
Feeling good. What's up, guys?
I mean, I'm sure Vincent can say the same. We are feeling great. What a phenomenal series to start off our day, and just an incredible turnaround from you. Also, I want to ask you a quick question. Between yesterday and today, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but you looked notably better today. That doesn't mean you looked bad yesterday, but today you just came out so much cleaner, so much stronger. Without giving away your strategy, was there kind of a specific thing you changed to come out so much stronger today, or was it just kind of a feeling good day?
Yeah, those Ardor boys are kind of crazy with the ball comp, but yeah, we had a VOD, went over a couple things, fixed a couple things individually. Not too much changed, honestly.
Sure.
Just better tempo, better mental.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of tempo, let's start there because I agree. What I saw yesterday was a lack of tempo, to be entirely honest. And today, it was just everyone firing on all cylinders, knew exactly where to be at the right time. All of the swaps worked out pretty perfectly, you would have to say. And so let me kind of. I'll ask generally. Number one, your performance over on Junkertown. What do you do? What is the secret to become a Baptiste god? Because you are absolutely popping over there on Junkertown. I think Sept and I said your name at least 15 times.
At least.
Well, thank you. I haven't looked back, but yeah, I haven't really changed much. I just listen to calls and doing what I know to do. Yeah, just playing my space. Left clicking too. Hit the backs.
Hey, there you go. Well, let me kind of follow that up to say, Chime had a phenomenal performance today. Really did well. I think on Lijiang Tower had a lot of high impact, right? And then fast forward a little bit, obviously he had light on the on Junkertown, but then fast forwarding a bit, it was super incredible what we saw go down on that final map. And I mean, how do you guys like prepare for that sort of thing? Like do you just kind of say, hey Chime, can you go do your thing, or is there a way that you guys try like to set Chime up for those sorts of plays?
Yeah, we just I mean, we all know what we all have our jobs at the end of the day. Like, we all know what we're doing. But we're not afraid to ask questions to each other mid-map to figure out how we could perfect ourselves. There's a lot of adapting mid-map, and yeah, I think we did good at that.
Okay.
Yeah,
but,
no doubt.
I also want to ask. So what was the team comps like? Like what happened when Triumph gets like 2 kills off the bat, and not only that, but forces the immortality early on their last push, Obey Alliance's last push on that final map. What were the team comps like? Was it absolute chaos?
No, not absolute chaos. We just said nice, and then we just played normal, 1 points.
Just pushed
Normal
it.
comms, we just closed it out. Yeah. Pressing it. Yeah, it was a really good pick. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I have 2 more questions for you, and then we'll let you get back to your team so you guys can celebrate and maybe, I don't know what you do, go back to a VOD review or whatever. But my first question is going to be just on Junkertown there, your guys' second round, so your second offense. You guys were getting really stalled at the beginning of Junkertown. I think it was nearly 2 minutes off the clock. And then all of a sudden, you guys just kind of kicked it into high gear. Was there a change you made, or did the momentum just kind of flop back into your favor?
I think it was mainly just momentum. They had a really good hold on first, but yeah, we capped second and third. Ults were pretty even from what I remember, but yeah, there's just a lot of momentum going into it.
Yeah, certainly. And then Vincent, if you don't have any more questions, I'll ask him our closer.
No, go ahead.
All right, perfect. So our last question, of course, is there anybody you want to thank, anything you want to shout out while we've got you here?
Yeah, shout out to my team for helping me get here. Shout out to Green, my boy on Regen, helping me out. Yeah. About it. Yeah, just shout out to my teammates and everything.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, man. And honestly, we can only talk to one of you guys. I wish we could talk to all of you, but tell your whole team, huge congrats. Every single one of you. Like, I did not see a weak link in that chain in the slightest. So you guys did a phenomenal job today. So please tell all of them a huge congratulations.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for joining us. And with that, folks, I believe we're going to be throwing into a super short break when we get our next teams lined up. And here, our door, and I believe upcoming is going to be Uprising Academy as well. So this is going to be... I said it at the beginning of the broadcast, I'll say it again. This is going to be, hopefully, as good a series as the one we just saw. I'm over the moon about it, but we're going to throw it to a super short break. We're going to get the teams at the ready. We'll see you folks in a couple of minutes. Don't go far. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back once again. Still Cephalins, joined by the wonderful and handsome Vincent to bring you Game 2 of the Contenders Trials NA Day 2 as well. It's going to be Uprising Academy up against Ardor, who is a team that we have heard a lot about today.
Yeah, I mean, we have. I mean, we literally just heard some high praise, by the way, coming through from Pascal, the Flex support over there for Shoes Money Crew, who played this team just yesterday. They were like, dude, these guys, they've got some crazy ball strategies, let me tell you, is what we were hearing. That said, Uprising Academy coming out off the back of a loss yesterday. It was an unfortunate loss, I have to say, to Malice. Yeah. It was 3-2 in style, and it was an incredible series, by the way. I watched that one live. It was a lot of fun to watch, but definitely a nail-biter that just didn't quite go their way, Cephalins, and those are so frustrating, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they most certainly are. And Uprising Academy with a little bit of I'll use the phrase star-studded roster. A lot of players that are kind of those higher names. We recognize them kind of a lot. And Ardor just kind of looks like the breakfast bar at a hotel. I mean, every single one of their names, every time I look at one, I just get kind of hungry. So it's like, except for Blake. I like that his name kind of stands out. I talked about that during the break, but I think that's hysterical how they're all food-related. I was like, and also Blake is here. And I get a kick out of that. I think that's so funny.
Blake was the guy who was like, guys, no, I'm not doing that. No.
He's like, it's not that funny, guys. Yeah, he's like, come on. And really everybody's like, Blake, do it.
Listen, I appreciate you, Blake, because I'm that guy, okay? I am unfortunately that guy. I'm the wet blanket. Every friend group has it. I'm sorry.
Vincent, perhaps that's why we work together so well, because I'm the exact opposite. I'm like,
exactly.
This will be so funny. Let's do it. But of course, we're going to be starting with our first map, Lijiang Tower. It's kind of the set, so to speak. And then after that, these players, these teams get to go absolutely crazy. They can pick whichever map they would like, and we kind of get to go from there. So I'm very curious to see, are we going to be seeing King's Row, which I don't think has been played once today, even in the EU. And that's my favorite map in the whole game. So I would love to see that one time or another. But now, Uprising Academy and Ardor, I'm ready to bite my nails at the excitement this can bring and the potential both of these teams have to just kick off with such aggression.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw me in chat yesterday during this game, I was really asking the question. I was like, guys, this Uprising Academy side, they're so star-studded.
Yeah.
It feels like they shouldn't be able to lose like this. And then they did. And it was sad. But I mean, they've got Gig, who obviously, hails from Owl last year.
Right.
Unfortunate LAV situations aside. But then, of course, Moser, an incredible player I think you could look out for. Adam, in addition, perennial winner over in Contenders with regard to Australia. Not quite made it all that way in North America just yet, but has the skill definitely. And then some incredible players in Stellar, Fixa, Finale. Like, I feel like everybody I gotta mention here because it is a star-studded roster. But that's
Absolutely.
just it. Ardor has sort of the same thing, and they've been proving it. They made Choose Money Crew look absolutely hilarious on Kings Row last night, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, I see you. I was waiting for Choose Money Crew to put on some show on Kings Row because I watched them play some Kings Row very well in Open Division. But then Ardor just came out and smacked them around, and I was like, respect. I understand. Fully respect it.
Yeah, I mean, just to think, Choose Money Crew, they win so aggressively in that last game that we just saw against Obey Alliance, and that's the same team that lost to Ardor here. So, I mean, this is kind of like a ladder, so to speak, of these teams. X is better than Y is better than Z, so on and so forth. But Ardor, they have absolutely made a name for themselves. They have been just ripping the rosters apart so far, and I'm curious to see, can they go toe-to-toe with this star-studded team like Uprising Academy, or is this going to maybe be their first time they really get caught up in that aggression?
We're gonna have to see. I mean, that's the key for me. Like, what exactly is it going to be? One or the other. One way or the other, I should say.
Right.
This, I think, going to be an interesting one. What we saw coming out here for Ardor prior, their ball comps are very, very solid. Whenever they were playing ball, they were playing it very, very well. That is what really disrupted the Kings Row play from SMC yesterday. But Uprising, I don't know if they're going to be able to deal with it. They play a bit of ball themselves. Gig obviously can play that ball, but whenever I saw that yesterday on Nepal, I didn't love it. I felt like it was a bit rough. Gig looked a lot better when it came down to those Reinhardt compositions and on the Winston. So we're going to have to see if Uprising can turn this ship around against an Ardor team that seems absolutely on fire.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be fascinating to say the least. The only character on both sides is Symmetra, and other than that, we've got 10 different characters across the board here. So this is going to be quite the matchup, and I'm curious, is Pancake going to have that same value that we saw from Doomfist earlier today on Legion Tower Night Market in particular? And this stage is finally going to open up these teams. I assume a teleporter not out of spawn, but instead into the window. And no, as I say it, look at that. We're going to see Uprising Academy choose to teleport out of spawn. And we see that as they are going to pay the price a little bit. Ardor, they get to the point a little bit earlier. They get to set up that Symmetra, and they're going to be able to hold on to the point in that defensive play style.
Yeah, but it kind of denies a big value from Pancake here, and it makes it very, very hard to get big value out of this Doomfist. So, not too bad.
Yeah, certainly not too bad coming through yet. And I'm curious to see if Uprising Academy is going to be able to push into this. They can contest for a while, but they've really got to find that elimination to make this all worth it. Finale now kind of hiding in that back line, going to be able to guide themselves away from that boop just a little bit, keeping themselves alive in the back. But the rest of the team has to kind of tuck tail a little bit and get off point, which will allow Ardor to get that first point cap. Whoa! Oh, that would have been wild. That would have been so cool.
That would have been absolutely incredible. Oh, nice secretion. Nearly does wonders, but this seems like a bit of an interesting fight, and like, why are they still committing here? But lots of ultimates coming through anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of ultimates coming through either way, and now we see Finale going to be forced out of that Doomfist transformation. Stellar will be, I think, the first to fall this entire match so far. Fixa will be able to find Blake, but Turkey Bacon, Egg and Cheese will be able to find Fixa in that lineup as well. Rabbinic Flux coming out early from Turkey Bacon here, but it's going to be able to maybe, yes, will find the Zarya. Adam will fall, Moser will fall, and things were looking good for a moment for Uprising Academy, but Ardor, they played patient, they did exactly what they needed to, and they're able to hold on to the point.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I really don't know about that engagement there from Uprising Academy. It felt a little bit too late in all honesty.
Right.
But regardless of that fact, it is a huge investment. They use both their support ults, and it's kind of back to the drawing board. They're going to have to try and figure out a way to split this defense up. But that's the problem. How can Moser get involved when there's two shields blocking the way? It's quite a difficult story.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Ana cannot heal through shields, right? That's kind of one of her biggest downfalls, other than having absolutely no mobility. And instead of no mobility, Fixa will be the one to pay the price. Pancake flattens Fixa just like one there. Waffle going to be able to find Adam as well. And Uprising Academy, they are really struggling to find their footing. Only 23 seconds until this night market is over.
Yeah, and that's just it, right? Like, the time has just disappeared. And
right.
Where are the ultimates? They're nowhere to be seen. Yes, the DPS are going to have a couple of those, but they seem maybe a little bit too late here for Uprising Academy. They're sort of locked out at this point with just 10 seconds left.
Yeah, 10 seconds left on the clock, and Finale with another transformation, but your Ana's already missing. Baptiste will fall, but the Winston and the Brig gone as well. Pancake taken out by Adam, but I think it may already be too late. Here's a great photon barrier, able to just separate the fight a little bit, and recontest or not, just barely able to make it back. Stellar just ripped to absolute shreds. They're caught out by that old fire coming out from Waffle. Looks like the Finale not going to be far behind. The microwave has been plugged in and is at full throttle as well. And one by one, the entirety of Uprising Academy will fall Ardor with a 100-0 victory on Night Market. A very good way to start the matchup.
That it is. And I mean, in
Not even a
addition,
wrecking ball.
yeah, I mean, here's the other thing, Seth. Like, whenever you get the early point presence with the Symmetra and whatnot, I think that the initial engagement there by the dive was very doable. The way they were kind of posturing from 3 different angles, it was putting pressure on the back line, and it, like I said, really limited the Doomfist's ability to get value. I thought that all made a lot of sense, right up until they just started investing big ultimates into that that very, very late fight. That's when I think that Symmetra just kind of has the overall advantage, and it makes it very difficult. So as we move here into the control center, it's much the same in that we've seen before. That said, maybe a little bit less so for Uprising. They're playing this a bit differently than we have seen.
Yeah, they're going to go for that McCree early on. I honestly feel like McCree, not necessarily the best character here on this stage until you've gotten that point cap already and you're playing kind of that more defensive playstyle. Turkey Bacon is going to be able to find Gig, take him offline straight away, and talk about a disastrous pick here in favor of Ardors. You can't really push in without your main tank, and one by one, Finale and Stellar will fall. I mean, this just I don't want to say it feels free for Ardor, but this feels effortless.
I mean, the difficulty is, right, like, what do you do with the frontline pressure that is being applied? It's so difficult to contend with, and I mean, even especially with Adam on the Diva as well, that's just another bit that makes it difficult. You don't have like an additional shield tank to pull that out. Right,
and Gig had just used that Fire Strike from the Matrix comes up from Mozart, so nobody really gets the value they want off of that. Maple's mortality field is gone, but Gig will be the first to fall there. Maple may not be too far behind. Zed finds the DMAC kill, able to make it out with their life. Turkey Bacon picks up Adam. The Riptire is out, but I mean, insult to injury there. Pancake is going to be able to find that piece, send him off, and already a third of the point is going to come to a close here in favor of Ardor. I mean, this is a great start for them here on Lijiang Tower.
You say already, but it's looked very easy, quite pedestrian
true.
at times for this Ardor side. They simply walk in, get big value out of their microwave. I mean, turning it up to the convection oven level, and Pancake's there to put massive damage down the line as well, just making Gig's life quite miserable.
Yeah, Gig's life has been unfortunately miserable so far. Not only a Junkrat to go up against, but it's a Metra as well, so that shield is hardly in existence. Now, Finale does give it a Blizzard, but it may already be too late. You're missing not 1, but 2. Make it 3. What a shot there onto Adam, able to take him out of the fight. And Blake may be critical condition, but that will not stop him from holding that left click and dealing 80 damage per swing. They're 70%, 30 seconds left for Uprising Academy to do anything. They've got 3 ultimates, almost 4, but they hardly have any time.
Yeah, I mean, and time, honestly, maybe the least of their problems at times, because, I mean, they're going to have ultimates, but it feels like it's going to have to be everything coming online for them at the same point in order to actually take this.
Stellar gonna have that high noon commit, but everybody just gets to hide around the corner. Pancake, oh, here comes that Riptire. Is it gonna be a big one? Sneaks into the back line, forces out the beat from Fixa, but plays it slow, waits out those shields to end, comes around the back here, and looks like they may be able to find, no! Gonna be taken out just in the last moment by that Baptiste. Nobody touches. Second time we've seen it today. Not a single footsteps on point from Uprising Academy, and Ardor in what could have not been any more than 6 or 7 minutes takes Lijiang Tower.
They were winning that fight, were they not, Seth?
They certainly were.
I mean, that was a victory. There was like 1 or 2 players alive for Ardor.
It's like a Temple of Anubis flashback.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I am having that flashback. That is so unfortunate for Uprising Academy. I mean, it kind of just honestly goes to show the way this map went for them, though. In reality, nothing going their way at all. A couple of small mistakes, and that is what that is. In essence, a small mistake, but it has such a large effect, and that's what we see, right? The effect of it is incredible. And so, unfortunately for Uprising Academy, they're gotta go back to the drawing board, figure out what went wrong on that one. And honestly, Ardor, they just look solid. Like, they just didn't put a foot wrong, did they, Seb? Like, they never made a mistake in map number 1.
They really didn't. I wanted to point out that the support player, I don't remember which food-related name that it was, I think it may have been Maple, that they had 9,000 healing, and that was 40% of the damage Ardor had even taken. So very clearly, it may be like a damage difference between these two teams right now. Uprising Academy, they never found those opportunities to get in and get aggressive. They never found the opportunities to really kind of beat down into Ardor. I mean, Ardor, all they did was beat up Uprising Academy. I mean, that was, I don't want to call it brutal, but that was very heavily in Ardor's favor. We talked so much about, they're wrecking ball, they're wrecking ball, they're wrecking ball. That is very clearly not the reason this team is so good. That may be one of them, but they have shown us tried and true they can do it with or without that wrecking ball online.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you might not want to call it brutal. I will do that right now. It was brutal. The way that Ardor were just they were putting themselves in positions to win, and I mean, listen, I don't want to say that Uprising Academy were playing their composition very incorrectly over on Control Center, but if you're going to use that May, you have to use it to actually close the distance, right, and get close up to the composition that you're playing against, because you're never going to win the Shield War. You're playing against a Sigma and a Reinhardt, and you're playing against a Symmetra and a Junkrat. You're never winning that Shield War. It doesn't matter what you do. You're absolutely not able to pull that off. So, what do? You have to close the distance somehow. Obviously, the speed boost is one tool in that kit, but the wall can be another one. They just weren't using that wall in order to try and get that closed distance. They were attempting to use the wall in order to split the team, which it would have been fine if that had worked, but unfortunately, all it did was just give extra charge to that microwave from the Symmetra, getting big damage down onto the main tank, and, well, Gig falling off the back of it. It was just an unfortunate scenario, I think, all the way around for Uprising Academy. But the good news is for them, they're going to be moving to Watchpoint Gibraltar. So, a very, very different map with a lot of different strategies, all of them very different than what we just saw over on Control Center and on Lijiang Tower.
Yet, of course, I would like to point out that Uprising Academy, they will be swapping in Victoria instead of Finale there. So a single swap in the DPS department, everybody else will remain the same. And now we've got to wonder, is that DPS difference going to make a difference swapping in that DPS here in map 2? Of course, you're going to want to win this one. You're going to want to tie it up 1-1, because falling into a 2-0 deficit is a very scary place to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not anywhere I want to be. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
Beyond that, right? Like, it's not what Uprising want to be looking at. Like, they had that rough loss, that 3-2 happening over on the on day 1, right? But I will say that they had a bit of a slow start in that one as well. So I don't want to count them out just yet. The control from Uprising left something to be desired, but they were a very different beast when it came down to these more traditional map types. So I'm curious to see what they'll bring out on this Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Yeah, I'm certainly curious to see as well. And immediately, we've got almost a mirror matchup. Instead, Victoria on the McCree and Pancake on the Echo. Now, Vincent, it's a simple question for you here, but I'd love to hear your opinion on it. Do you think one of those is going to have a larger impact than the other due to Gibraltar being, Gibraltar?
Oh, it's so difficult, right? Because I think it really defines, I haven't gotten to see a ton of Victoria, and I think that, depending on how well Victoria does, I think that's the answer. Because Pancake kind of gets big value just by existing and coming in at the right time. Sure. Victoria actively needs to hit huge shots and make big value plays in order to get value out of this McCree. Otherwise, you're just a dive target.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm assuming we're just going to see that Sim TP onto the opposing high ground and then run back into spawn, swap back onto that Echo. Yep, call it a day. We've seen that 100 times, and I'm sure we'll see it 100 more coming through. Pancake already trying to get a little bit of value, but Victoria, like you said, got to be hitting those shots. Echo, it's a little bit easier to kind of spam a little bit more in favor of Junkrat the way that he's normally played. But with Victoria, you do not get to spam on that McCree. You have to be landing those shots. Blade able to get a little bit of damage up onto the high ground there, but he's immediately going to force them down into that car wash portion. That could be a huge opportunity here. I think we're already seeing a lot of great value coming out from Ardor.
Yeah, I would fully agree with that. I think Ardor are doing a good job of just owning space, right?
Right.
They're forcing lots of cooldowns before even really getting too deep themselves.
Yeah, now we see the high ground advantage kind of in favor of Uprising Academy, but the further that cart gets into the car wash phase, the less and less that high ground advantage really matters. Now, owning the blue boxes is great until that cart gets around that middle area of the underneath of that alley, so to speak. And now we kind of see our door, not necessarily walking into the trap, but just kind of going with that consistent, almost predictable gameplay style here. Blake gonna get narrowed up on the high ground, finds one, gonna be able to find two. Victoria's got nowhere to run, and Blake able to find a double kill. That is just going to tear this fight open. Every single bomb from Pancake lands onto Gig there. A 3v6 in favor of Ardor, and they are just walking the cart once again.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, the whole point of this composition is to split the rest of the team away from the Ana,
Right.
deny healing, usually with that bubble from the Winston, but that time it was just really good use of the Nano and putting the body of the Winston in the way. Blake doing a phenomenal job of that and just taking two big heads with that one and really pushing the score.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of big pushes here, Gig is going to be coming through with a massive push of his own. One Angry Monkey here hiding in the back line. Blake and Gig find these supports in simultaneous there. Turkey Bacon does pick up Stellar in the lineup. Waffle finds Victoria as well. And here comes a grab. Better late than never from Turkey Bacon, able to get things online, getting a lot of value there. And Blake just almost single-handedly rips the entirety of Uprising Academy apart.
Yeah, I mean, and Blake's having an absolutely phenomenal performance thus far. We've seen it continually, and even there, right? Like, got big value out of the nano boost, right? And then doing that even in the neutral fight and with the ultimate. But nice pick by Stellar. That takes Pancake out of this fight, and whilst it is going to be enough time to really get the re-engage going, actually, they're going to have to fall all the way back. Great job, actually, from Uprising Academy to take advantage of that pick and really take control. Because look at what this does. It opens everything else up to them, and they can do this like kind of weird poke strategy that we're seeing happen right now, where they just farm ultimates.
Yeah, they got one pick and they said, "All right, press W," and that's exactly what they needed to do. They didn't need to get any kills after that. They didn't need to really do anything. They just needed to push forward, take that space back, and force Ardor back into their own spawn. And that buys them a lot of time. That was maybe 40 seconds that there was really no action on either side. Victoria, oh, what a sleep! Are you kidding me? Victoria on the high ground, taken out by Maple there, able to just dismiss that high noon before we can even find out what time it actually is. Adam now with a long distance grab, Gig gonna be able to find, I believe, the first elimination on the Turkey Beacon of this Gibraltar run so far. 3 minutes left on the clock, and Uprising Academy, they really seem to be enjoying this high ground.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this high ground is incredibly impactful. Whenever you're up here, if you can get up there as a defender, you're loving it, right? That's exactly where you want to be living, and if you can stay up there, it's absolutely wonderful. So Adam staying up there is perfect. You don't need to commit to anything. Your right clicks can do plenty of big value from distance, and another investment there early on just to get out of this fight. I think this is perfectly fine from Gig and Moser just to kind of utilize that nano boost as a denial tool for another 10-15 seconds.
Right, absolutely. Every second counts, right? We cannot say that enough. Every single second is so unbelievably important. And speaking of nanoed Winstons, here comes Blake on the high ground here. He's going to knock every single one of them down, or he's going to try to shield bash into flashbang, into sleep dart. You cannot avoid a triple CC like that. And as a tank player, I can assure you that is our least favorite thing to have happen. But Blake is still going to be able to find that kill on, and Victoria fix-up will be taken out by Pancake. Ardor, it's taken them nearly 2 minutes after that first point cap. They have finally gotten the wheels rolling once again.
That they have. Wheels are rolling, but remember, the earliness of that take and how much control they had, it should net at least a contest. That said, Adam falling down there late into this push is a problem for the recontesting Uprising Academy.
And for a while, Gibraltar was one of my favorite maps because I could do that cool Junkrat tire pull off the top where it would fall to the ground. But they've patched that out, and now I don't like this map anymore. That was the only reason I liked it. But anywho, back into the actual. We got this fight happening on hand. Pancake and that soft primal rage here. Syrup is going to be able to find Stellar, and oh no, way off the map. Okay, just barely able to survive, but I assume not for long as we see the chase coming through. Pancake trying to find that Ana. It looks like they're finally going to be able to pick it up. Maple finds Moser, and 3 minutes left on the clock. That's honestly not a massive time bank here for Gibraltar.
No, not massive, but also not too shabby, I would say. I mean, it's certainly not an ideal scenario. But all that being said, there's still a lot of cart to push. Zeb. We aren't done just yet. I think, especially if you take a look at the ultimates coming online here for Uprising Academy, they're not going to give this away all that easily. Adam and the Graviton Surge is exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. The Graviton Surge is going to make a colossal difference here, but you commit the grab in a fight that you're already losing. Pancake is going to be able to find Victoria, and we see nobody else going to be eliminated here on the side of Uprising Academy. Stellar will pick up Turkey Bacon, but Pancake finds Fixa right off the back of it. A mild to severe disaster here. Pancake and Waffle just on a rampage. Adam commits that grab, but I mean, at what cost? You get 1 kill off the back of it, and we see Ardor still winning the fight.
Yeah, I mean, it might net enough to just pull them over the edge and
Maybe.
at least gain a re-engagement, and that's what it's going to look like ultimately.
Oh!
Actually, Victoria finding Maple, that's so big.
That's it. That's the turnaround. That was the 1 kill they needed here. Uprising Academy Victoria, I don't want to say single-handedly winning the fight, but definitely stalling the fight a lot longer, taking that Ana out of the fight, that main support missing, and all of a sudden Ardor has to take a much longer time to re-engage.
Yeah, no, Victoria doing wonders in that one. And in addition to that, right, like, this does, unfortunately, though, net Ardor a lot of space and a lot of ultimates.
Absolutely, and speaking of ultimates, Primal Rage here in the back line, getting ready to deal some damage. The Nano Boost has been committed as well, but looks like Blake's going to choose the Pacifist run here. He's not really going to go for any damage. Instead, Waffle and Syrup taken out in simultaneous. Maple and Blake not far behind. The whole breakfast is just being thrown into the garbage right now. I mean, Turkey Bacon and Pancake, they're able to survive, but that was another minute and a half off the clock on that push.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the breakfast bar is closed for the time being, but don't worry, it will reopen shortly because look at the ultimates available. It's absolutely everything, with the exception of Maple having no nano boost available. But I mean, do you really care? Does it matter that much, especially with the rally?
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. Speaking of rally, Syrup committing that very early on. Fixa with one of their own, but you don't want to commit both support ults in simultaneous. Instead, Fixa is going to do just that. Blake in the back line, just juggling for his dear life, down to less than 100 health at one point, I believe. So just really able to make it out. Pancake has the Pulse Bomb, and nothing's going to come through quite yet. Now we see going to farm another one. Pulse Bomb, one of the fastest charging ultimates in the game, and with the Echo boost of like, what is like 350% bonus, it's pretty easy to get another one of those online. Now a grab coming out early from Turkey Bacon, not quite able to find the kills, but Pancake instead coming out in those final crucial moments. The tank line has fallen out on the side of Uprising Academy, and this is going to be not exactly a disaster, but pretty darn tootin' close to 15 seconds left on the clock, and this is going to be huge here if you are an Uprising Academy, excuse me, if you are an Ardor fan. Uprising Academy Stellar is going to find Pancake, but at the cost of every single one of their teammates. 8 seconds left, and that 3-minute time bank shaved all the way down to 5 seconds. Kudos to Uprising Academy on their way.
I mean, they made it, and well, with Adam's grab, this is somewhat doable, and Stellar finds one. So again, not a horrific scenario, but this nano boost is really making things difficult. It's absolutely humongous.
Yeah, the spawn advantage is colossal, right? Like, it is massive, but when you're walking face first into a nanoed Winston, there's not really much you can do to avoid that. So I think that was a great utilization of that nano in the final moments, and Blake really just showing up on this Winston here on Gibraltar. I feel like his name is probably the most I've said by a country mile. I've said it 500 times in a row at this point, but he is just leading the charge for Ardor every single time.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we talked about Blake a lot over on Li Shang as well, and it goes to show, really doing a good job. I mean, it is the main tank's job to kind of define the pace of play, call for those engagements, get solid engagements. You saw when it wasn't working for Blake there for those like 3 or so minutes that you were talking about on point 3, it was really obvious because we saw, Blake move forward. It would get a nano boost or some support, and then was on his own for a while. Nobody really following up with him. I don't know if it was just nobody was available to follow up with him, or if it was just some sort of miscommunication. Regardless of what it was, we saw when it kind of all came back together, and Blake had huge value, getting 2-3 kills in that off the back of a nano boost, and obviously with the rest of the team coming in to support, really makes the main tank look like they're unstoppable. So, well done. That said, it is no time on the clock for Ardor. So if Uprising Academy are able to push this at least equivalently, we could be headed to some extra innings.
Yeah, we most certainly could. Like you said, no time left on the clock, so it's going to be a bit of a disaster. But even if we do see any kind of cap come through for Uprising Academy, that will boot Ardor back up to a minute on the clock if they need some time to play with. But I'm very curious to see kind of how this comes to fruition. Gig with a very aggressive dive in, or gets ripped down to half of his health. I think he got slept on the low ground there as well. Goes for a secondary attempt, but feeds Bacon Egg just a lot, Turkey Bacon Egg. A lot of extra damage there. Pancake almost taken offline there by Victoria, but nothing coming through quite yet. What a whip shot from Syrup, just waiting for that opportunity. No value gain from Gig,
the
but
biotic.
a triple bio nade from Maple. Just almost ripping the entirety of Uprising Academy apart. We have seen some huge anti-nades today, and that is just one to add to the list.
I mean, Maple is playing phenomenally right now, and yeah, a triple biotic grenade to just turn the tide. Absolutely.
It's a blink and you miss it moment for sure, but I mean, it was a crucial one.
Yeah, beautiful one for sure. That said, the fact that Gig got out with their life gives Moser the advantage, believe it or not, on the nano boost. It's a slight one, but an advantage nonetheless. Those advantages, though, they disappear with time, and well, that's exactly what Stellar is buying for Arjor. As I mean, getting picked off early like that by Pancake, not ideal.
Yeah, that's most certainly not ideal. Getting picked off that early in a fight can only spell disaster. Waffle just blinks back into the weirdest position, just mid-air, kind of caught out there. And Gig, oh, what? Maple's sleeps today have been nothing short of incredible. I mean, absolutely phenomenal so far.
Oh! That was another.
Oh my, okay, now we see a couple of kills coming through for Uprising Academy. Syrup is going to be able to find Fixa, so we see that for a moment Arjor is down, but they do not stay down for long. They're going to get right back up, punch Uprising Academy square in the face, and take this fight back. A triple elimination. Half of the time bank already gone here for Uprising Academy. They've got a couple of ultimates, but they've really got to make them count.
There's no doubt about that, right? Like, with 2 minutes on the clock as well, like, every kill like this is just time gone off the clock. And
I mean, 20 seconds minimum.
Exactly, and those are 20 seconds that I don't really think Uprising Academy can afford to lose.
Wholehearted agree.
Especially like yeah, there's some on the point and already commitment. Well, this is so early from Turkey Bacon.
All right, Turkey Bacon goes for an early grab, and it appears to have worked out. They lose Turkey Bacon in the process, but a 3-for-1 trade is, I'm sure, a trade anybody will take any day of the week. They're picking up Victoria as well, so losing that Zarya hardly makes a difference here for the rest of Arjor as they still just rip Uprising Academy to shreds. 90 seconds left on the clock, and this is seemingly becoming more and more impossible for Uprising Academy. We're going to have to see a serious momentum shift.
Where did Adam's grab go? Adam used his grab in that one. That's horrific from Adam. It's so unfortunate, but giving that grab away, that's a huge win condition gone now.
Yeah, a colossal one, honestly. I mean, this is just kind of a mild to severe disaster. And Gig is going to be able to find Turkey Bacon. We see the high noon, and Maple! Are you kidding me? The man is just making himself a highlight reel in this game. That is like the 4th ultimate sleep we have seen on Gibraltar so far. Pancake and Waffle find these eliminations once again. Uprising Academy down for those crucial 40 seconds. Almost a C9 there, but they are just barely able to make it back. The swap from Pancake onto the Zarya, just trying to give themselves kind of that health pool. We're going to see Turkey Bacon on the Diva. Going to lose that back early on, probably lose their life afterward. Believe will come through, find that value early on. Waffle finds one, Pancake finds another. Uprising Academy, they are desperate to cap this point, and I'm really not sure it's possible.
No, it's looking more and more impossible as the time ticks down with 25 seconds. Do have both support ultimates in coming up on a pulse bomb, so there is maybe the potential for a pick to come through off the back of that from Stellar, but it's just not looked good all the way through for Uprising Academy. That being said, they only got to push it a little bit further, so they find a way to push them off the point, maybe, just maybe.
Yeah, somebody was in the back line for a moment. Stellar there went for an opportunity, but Waffle finding the pulse bomb onto that Ana. That is probably best case scenario here for Arjor. Speaking of pulse bombs, here comes one from Stellar, not quite able to find that kill. Victoria does pick up Waffle, looking at a 5v5, a massive spawn advantage here in favor of Arjor, especially with Waffle's points. He right back point in the blink of an eye. Pancake picks up Gig, and just like that, the fight looking better and better here for Arjor. They lose that Winston on the side of Uprising Academy. Fixa not far behind. Here's a bomb from Turkey Bacon. Gonna open it up, finds a double kill, and that's not quite gonna be the nail in the coffin, but my goodness, is it close. Oh, just barely able to recall the time. Gotta get whip shot off point, and just like that, nobody is able to touch. Arjor takes Gibraltar. They are looking clean today, my friends.
Man, Arjor is very quickly becoming one of my favorite teams to watch in this trials, because honestly, I mean, they came out, they surprised me. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to be poor by any means, but you know, just came out smacked
exceeding expectation,
right? Like, and then today, now they're just showing class on now 2 maps in a row against this Uprising Academy side. Which, by the way, I mean, we talked about it at the time being a, you know, whilst obviously the Uprising Academy name has kind of struggled to find some success. The names on this side are very, very good. There's no way around it. They're absolutely solid, and the fact that this Arjor side is really just taking it to him is really impressive. I love what we're seeing, and beyond that, dude, Step, can I just get a highlight reel of Maple sleep?
Oh my
cards,
goodness, I know.
please.
I know.
Like unreasonable. I tried to find a place to miss it, or to mention it rather, when on Lijiang Tower, but I just didn't find a spot to throw it in there.
Better.
But they just keep getting better, like you say. I don't understand how it happens. I don't understand how you hit them, but Maple is absolutely killing it. That's just incredible.
Yeah, no doubt. And folks, I mean, we're going to have to see, is Uprising Academy going to be able to take this next couple of minutes in this break, kind of discuss what they're going for in these upcoming maps and turn things around? Only time will tell, but folks, we're going to do a super short break. Get up, stretch your legs, go refill your water bottles, and we'll see you in just a couple of minutes. welcome back, all you tanks, healers, and damage dealers. We are going to be jumping right back into Volskaya Industries here. Uprising Academy currently down 2-0 up against the seemingly undefeatable team that is Ardour.
Yeah, listen, Seb, I told you before we left that Ardour is very quickly becoming the team for me to watch.
They're scary.
They are terrifying.
They're scary, dude.
And here's the crazy part. Like I was hearing rumblings. In fairness, I did watch the game yesterday, so I already knew. But like all the rumblings was, dude, their ball comps are incredible, and we haven't even seen it yet.
We haven't even seen Wrecking Ball.
We haven't even seen it.
I'm
like,
blown
okay,
away.
Great.
No, this is, I mean, they are a team, I knew nothing about them coming into this other than what I had seen online. I caught a little bit of the game yesterday, but I didn't get to watch the whole thing. So this was, I mean, they are coming in, I said it once already, they're coming in, they're just grabbing Uprising Academy by the shirt and just punching them in the face over and over. This has just been brutal so far. And this team, they are, like you said, in my opinion so far, the teams I have seen, this is the team to watch out for because they are, I have yet to see like a crack in their armor. I have yet to see where I'm like, oh, that can be exploited XYZ. They have just been so clean this entire time.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that, I don't know who it was that mentioned this, but I think that I'm very much coming to their way of thinking. But it just seems that whatever is needed to be played, Ardour can play it.
Yeah.
And they can play it at an incredible level. So that really kind of just goes to show where this team's at, where they've been at. And listen, we knew, again, coming in that they were going to be solid, but I mean, geez, really just showing their steel against some really good teams. And again, Uprising Academy, I think that I have a sneaking suspicion. I don't want to be a cursed purveyor, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be a bit of a disappointing trials based on these opening couple of maps and what we saw yesterday. But I just don't get it. They have so many good players, and I feel like they're just one adjustment away from kind of being at a similar level. But right now, that's just not what we're seeing on the server.
Yeah, they feel like one of those teams that's at like 80% power. You know what I mean? Like they're just a couple of small fixes away from really being that powerhouse. But Ardour, they don't have to fix those mistakes. They're coming in hot. They're coming in strong.
Mistakes? Question mark?
Yeah, they don't have mistakes to fix, rather. Excuse me on that. But here, look who it is. Blake coming out of that Wrecking Ball.
Oh, boy.
This is finally the time. Is he going to live up to the name? Oh, my goodness.
I love this angle. It's so
love
good.
That angle.
It's so ridiculous.
It's like insulting. It's just rude. But there we go. Victoria able to find that headshot onto Waffle. Pancake picks up Gig. Turkey Bacon not far behind. So Victoria already getting a lot of great value on this ad. Blake caught in the back line by Stellar, and a rather sloppy approach coming out here from Ardour.
Indeed, and actually, I would maybe say less sloppy from Ardour, but a really clean engagement there from Gig, sure. I think is more accurate to say. And then obviously Victoria hitting shots. Like Victoria, you hit those shots, like that's a victory. Unfortunately, Gig does go down for the trouble, but back already. It's not a problem as the re-engage is going to come through here in just a moment. But if we see more of those clean engagements there from the Uprising Academy, maybe, just maybe, they can pull off this map victory.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, I would love to just, like, eat my words on this one.
Oh, yeah.
I really think so. I would love to see Uprising Academy come back and all of a sudden take this, maybe even turn it into a reverse sweep. And so far, Volskaya has been looking quite good. Even better for them. Waffle has his haircut go a little bit too short. Takes his head clean off his shoulders. Their Gig going to be caught out, but not quite paying the price. The pull spot from Stellar will find Maple, and it looks like the Sigma may not be far behind in that death line of Stellar with the triple kill. Both support to end that Sigma down. The Drake Blake will pick up one kill onto Gig, but something tells me he will not be able to find many more. Going to get caught out around the corner here, able to deal a little bit of damage, but Stellar can blink their way out of that, and already half the time bank going to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, Victoria just giving out free haircuts from the high ground, and honestly, Ardour need to stop accepting because it's a little bit unreasonable at this point. Stop getting in those sight lines. A little bit better, I think, on those rotations can Ardour be, but this is much cleaner from them. They aren't going to get disrupted by Gig, who's a little bit too far behind, and that forces Victoria into a backwards position.
Absolutely, and I almost want to say get off the Wrecking Ball. I mean, I know it's only been 2 minutes, but you've only got 2 minutes left, and the Wrecking Ball so far from Blake has been able to get a kill here or there, but it's really not been able to get that high-quality value that we need. And again, Blake will fall, has that minefield online, so I doubt they're going to be swapping Stellar with another phenomenal pulse bomb. Able to pick up Syrup there. Maple will fall as well. Waffle in that third and final death slot. Turkey Bacon goes for that reset. 90 seconds left on the clock. It's a now or never moment here for Ardour.
It indeed is, and Stellar been farming those pulse bombs up like they're candy, doing a great job of that, and even with the ultimate investment last time out, it's still a big advantage for this Uprising Academy side. They're really doing a good job of adjusting and coming out with huge picks in every single fight.
Yeah, and here comes Blake early on. He's got the minefield. I would suspect him to use it probably on point just to open up some space, but instead, here comes Bradley, here comes Gravitic Flux, and there's that minefield. A bit of an odd spot. Oh, no, excuse me, that's because that one's from King. I got a little bit mixed up there. Blake's count in simultaneous on the points. It looks like we see a little bit of rotation coming through. If Waffle can get Bob, I think that's going to be the real opportunity to turn things around here. Because that Bob's going to come out in tandem from Victoria here. The interesting thing about Volskaya Industries point A. Oh, Gig with the double. Blake able to find Motor as well, but it may already be too late. Victoria's Bob does find Waffles, picks up Maple. This is looking like another rough run for Artur. They used every ultimate they had.
And I mean, listen, props to the Uprising Academy side, just showing what we know. I love it when this happens. Really doing a good job of coming out here and absolutely smacking this Artur team, taking names. And look at this adjustment here. Waffle swapping Pancake as well. Going to be onto the, well, attempt at the Sombra, but it feels like this might be too little too late. Clearly Gig is making an impact, and that Sombra is there to try and shut it down.
Yeah, you certainly beat me to it. I think swapping to the Sombra, you are a minute and a half too late. You're making a crucial choice like that. Sombra charges her ultimate quickly, but not fast enough to get it in the 10 seconds online. Now, Pancake going to be caught out in the back line. Turkey Bacon will fall to 1-for-1 trade. Going to be a 5v5, and it's just going to be desperate touch after desperate touch for Artur here. We see the hack come through onto Adam, who may be eliminated. Stellar picks up Maple. Gig will fall, and Adam just barely able to make it out with his life. Slowly but surely, we see a lot of slow rotations coming out from Artur. They're desperate to try and keep the point alive. A great Gravitic Flux is going to catch Blake in the air. One by one, Artur will fall, and best case scenario, they're looking at a draw. That just guaranteed us a map 4.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I mean, I don't know my face, it's not on screen, but I mean, my jaw's on the ground. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. What an adjustment, what a turnaround that was here. I mean, this doesn't even seem like the same team that we were just watching 1-2 maps ago. I mean, Uprising Academy very much looking as if they were floundering in this series, unsure of what to do, how to adjust, and now they swap the comp and they're right back into winning graces. I mean, listen, in all fairness, this is their map pick, so like you would expect them to be very good on it, but their map pick was Gibraltar too. So, you know,
maybe Volskaya is kind of their hidden weapon, so to speak, a map they're very comfortable on. I feel like we saw a lot of really clean rotations from them here on Volskaya, which is something that we weren't able to see on Gibraltar or Lijiang earlier today. But I'm really curious. I mean, is Uprising Academy gonna finally be able to put a win under their belt and really give us a series?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see if that's going to be the case. I mean, the reality is that, I mean, if they don't win this map, it's going to be a tragedy, right? Like they can't lose it. They can only be a draw, So if they don't win this map, I mean that is absolutely tragic. But I don't, based on what we just saw, I don't think there's really any way that this tick doesn't come through at some point, unless we just see some incredible individual plays come out. Not that that's impossible, but I mean, again, Gig kind of playing out of his mind right now, and everybody else, Stellar, Victoria, all hitting those shots when necessary, give me a lot of faith.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and Victoria and Gig have been doing so strong here on Volskaya, and that's just something to keep an eye on. Like, look at that. Almost took Waffle's head clean off. Like, that could have been a massive disaster here for Artur, but instead Waffle was just really able to make it out. Thank goodness for that Mercy pocket coming in from Syrup. And now I'm just now realizing we've got a mirror matchup across the board here, so it's really going to come down to individual performance.
I mean, it's got to, right? But look at this. Already pressure onto the point is what we're seeing from this Uprising Academy side, and I think that's smart, right? You just force this point play, and that gives you the advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Pancake almost falls. Waffle not far behind, and Gig with the double pile drive. Pretty much just pile drove that nail into the coffin here. Maple and Pancake have both fallen, and all they need is a single tick. Gig going for the boom. Oh, he hits the corner. Not quite able to find that off-map shot. Turkey Bacon and Waffle will fall. Blake not far behind. Adam picks up 2 of his own, and just like that, Volskaya Industries comes to a close. We officially have a series on our hands.
Well, I mean, listen, some of us were looking for a fast map 3. I guess we got that, but boy, were we not thinking it was going to be in that direction.
Yeah, certainly not.
Uprising Academy, they came out and absolutely dominated on that Ball Sigma mirror. And again, the crazy part about this sept is we've been hyping up that composition from Artur That's what really caught SMC off guard. If you remember, we just talked to Pascal, who was like, dude, I don't know what they're doing with their ball comps. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I came away from yesterday feeling the exact same way. But it seemingly didn't matter at all, as coming straight down to it, it was simply better from Uprising Academy, something I just don't know that I was expecting to see. And listen, I love it. Props to Uprising Academy. Keep giving us this series, because we are headed over to King's Row. And, well, I don't know if you were somehow missing from yesterday's series, this is where Ardor entirely mentally boomed the SMC guys, and in fact forced Cameron to play solo Orisa on the attack of King's Row, something we haven't seen since the whole hook was in full swing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Ardor, they've been doing a phenomenal job, and then all of a sudden, Uprising Academy, they come to life there on Volskaya, and now moving into our next map, which I believe is going to be King's Row. We have to see kind of, is that going to be the crucial turnaround they've been looking for? I'm very excited to find out if this is going to be another map in favor of Uprising Academy. I mean, do we go from possibly a 3-0 victory and maybe all the way into a 2-2 matchup game 5? Only time will tell, but my goodness, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like I said, I do feel like Uprising Academy, in the small amount of games we've had to look at, have had a propensity to start off a little bit slow. So there is that possibility, especially if we're going to be seeing that Ball Sigma duel once again, as we saw Ardor favor to play here on King's Row. That could mean that we could see a similar showing to what we just saw happen on Volskaya. I'm not, saying one way or another, but what I'm thinking is that that's definitely a possibility, and because of that, it's all up in the air, right? We went from sure of so much to absolutely unaware of everything in the matter of moments.
Yeah, no, we really did. I mean, all of a sudden, Uprising Academy was like, ahaha, psych, and then just really came back. Yeah, I feel like somebody in chat was like, they're just making it interesting. You know what I mean? When a team's always they're just making it interesting. But Uprising Academy, they really were. They were coming in super strong. They're looking fantastic in that final matchup of Volskaya Industries, and now moving into map 4. Can they take us to that coveted game 5, or will Ardor come back to life like we saw in those first 2 maps? Only time will tell. But Vincent, moving into King's Row, my personal favorite map in the game, as a Ryan player, as a Junkrat player, is my favorite map in the entire game, and I am very, very excited to see what these teams bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And we are actually going to see, I think, Ardor starting on the defense here, which gives me some interesting ideas. I think that, number one, that is going to very much set the tone for the way this is going to go. I think that Ardor is going to be able to make adjustments if they're losing that first point. It's a little bit frustrating if you start out on the attack, right? Like, you can sometimes get stalled out and really stuck in a rut. So I don't think that'll happen to Ardor now, as they get to start on the defense, meaning they have time to make adjustments if they were to lose point number 1. But again, back to the idea of what we see from Uprising Academy, how they're going to put that into effect. This is the quintessential brawl map. So
it is.
I don't know. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say I don't know that we're guaranteed to see the ball sig, but never mind. We see the ball sig both sides, and this, I guess, makes the most sense.
Yeah, and something I want to point out is if you take a look at the top right of your screen, you'll see Adam and Stellar have swapped roles.
Indeed.
I mean, not necessarily. They've just swapped spots. Adam is for some reason in the DPS slot, and Stellar is next to Gig. So I don't know what that's all about, but that is going to be a little bit confusing. Victoria, however, going to be starting on the Widowmaker, going to go for a cheeky shot, and hopefully able to find him, because that'll have, of course, crack the fight wide open for Uprising Academy. But now, I feel a team like Ardor, they are not a team to make a mistake as simple as that one.
No. I mean, this level of play, you should almost never see that sort of wide swing happening early on and the such, and much to the chagrin of Victoria, that is indeed not going to be happening. Nothing given away as the engage goes through. Gig just getting a bit of ult charge and taking quite a bit of damage for the trouble.
Yeah, taking quite a wee bit of damage from their troubles indeed. Now it's going to be 20 seconds off the clock, so plenty of time for both these teams to really get figured out what's going on next. But we're in one of those slow burn scenarios where it's really we've got to wait until somebody finds that first crucial elimination to get things lined up here.
Yeah, and this is kind of that poking and prodding stage that we tend to see when it's 2 teams like this. And how How does Moser find Blake? That's such an over-investment.
A good old charge, a good old fire there. It was going to be a good ultimate fire right down that hallway. And both are playing Zenyatta, able to do a lot of damage, but not a lot of healing so far. We see almost everybody on his team currently in that critical position, and it's going to be something to keep an eye on. Can this Zenyatta continue to kind of play that heavy damage dealer? Is it going to cost the team their lives? And instead, it looks like Boston Uprising Academy, rather, they are coming in hot here. Victoria and Stellar able to find 2 kills of their own, and a little over a minute off the clock. They're going to find that first point cap.
And this is that scary moment that I was kind of referring to for Ardor, right? Where they're like, oh, we got to figure something out here. We got to do something about this, and that's probably the mindset at the minute for them. I actually don't know what the adjustment that needs to be made though is. Really solid job, I think, just all the way around from this Uprising Academy. That said, Waffle, just okay, pop up.
Yeah, go pop off, Waffle. You got your time to shine there. Might as well take full advantage of it. And honestly, I think Blake is doing better here than he did on Volskaya. I'm still not a fan of the Wrecking Ball. I don't know if it's just not working out well for Blake today, but I think when they were playing now Winston earlier, just playing the other shields in general, I feel like they were just doing a little bit better. In Ardor, they're trying to stick tried and true. They're trying to show off that Wrecking Ball a little bit more, but I don't think it would hurt them to swap.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the issue or the problem or like the solution, right? Like that's the issue here. It's not clear.
Right. And I think a big issue right now is just Gig is getting free reign. I mean, this is the second map in a row that he's just living in the back line. Found both the supports early on. Adam as well, able to find 2 of his own, and either they need more peel for Syrup and Maple, or they've just got to find a way to deal with this Wrecking Ball. But Gig has just, like I said, he's been living back there. I mean, he just bought a house in the back line.
Yeah, no, I mean he's literally not only bought the land, but he's built it up, and he's got an entire farm going on. As we see, Syrup has actually swapped, and kind of key to what you were saying is going over to the Brigida is a bit more sustain. On top of that, has obviously the shield bash to stun things out. So it's certainly a good adjustment as Bob's trade. And we got 14 on the field.
Bob v. Bob coming out, and I love when that happens. I love when they lock onto each other, but we didn't get that this time. Waffle is going to be able to find Adam with the help of that aim bomb coming through. The Dynamite as well, just farming this damage, takes out Geek's proximity mines as quickly as possible. And this is a good opportunity. Ardor, I think they may have finally found their defensive footing.
Now, granted, it was at the cost of some significant ultimates, so I don't think that's necessarily the like real sustainable solution, but it's absolutely viable to take this. A nice kill from Stellar. Actually taking down Maple in that one is certainly a good engagement tool because of the spawn advantage that's going to be available. And Blake just barely gets out with his life. They're able to confirm this kill. That could be massive.
Yeah, Syrup is going to be taken out by Adam. That creation going to be able to find it. Turkey Bacon not far behind. Gig able to pick up that Sigma. And the Streets phase looks like it'll be coming to close in just a moment. Here we see this Tracer trying to make it out. Pancake desperate to make it out with their life, but struggling to do so. Adam will find that kill, and I believe that will guarantee the second point cap. They may get a touch from the Wrecking Ball, but that'll simply be prolonging the inevitable. Now, instead, 4 minutes left on the clock in Kings Row. I mean, Uprising Academy, I got to say, they're looking good here.
That they are. I mean, and again, this is where Ardor looked so good yesterday that I mean, that's why they picked this map, but surely they're unaware. And oh, what a great engagement! That's so incredible from Gig and Stellar.
No doubt. No doubt. Gig is just, it's almost as if Stellar is playing a secondary tank right now. Gig diving into the backline, and Stellar just collapsing on every single dive, able to find kill after kill here. Uprising Academy, they have really found their stride here on both Volskaya and Kings Row. You know, 3.5 minutes, not the largest time bank, but a darn tootin' good one here on Kings Row.
No, it ain't too shabby, that's for sure. And I mean, just the timings on that, right, like, is so incredible. Gig getting the pile driver, obviously, and then it's the pulse bomb going down underneath them that just finds that opening kill. So much damage done, of course, by by Gig as well on the engagement there. I mean, that's the sort of thing that you see at the Owl level, right? Like, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, absolutely incredible is probably the best way I could think to describe just this series so far. We've seen both these teams, Ardor, Uprising Academy, both really have these great times to shine, and Waffle is going to be able to just barely make it out with the coach. And here comes that counter bomb from Victoria. Mozer was able to find Waffle's bomb straight away. Pancake is able to find Gig as well, and Waffle just uncontested gets to rip Victoria's bomb apart. They will lose Turkey Bacon on the Diva now in return. Now 2.5 minutes for, I mean, Ardor, they have to do anything.
I mean, but look at this. Oh,
Oh,
so beautiful.
no.
It forces the trance. That's massive from Stellar.
Colossal. That is huge. Transcendence has to be forced out early. A great pulse bomb from Stellar hiding in the back line, and Maple still might not make it out with their life. Turkey Bacon is going to be able to find Stellar. Here comes a minefield from Blake as well. Maple will fall to the Sigma in the back line, and he eats the pulse bomb from Pancake. Another ultimate going to go down the drain. Pancake will fall, and Adam, he is here to show this team Ardor that they cannot win them all. Uprising Academy just coming to life here.
I mean, are you kidding me? This Uprising Academy side, this is what I was expecting. This is what I see when I see these names come together in a server. I'm like, this is what we should see. It just makes sense, right?
We talked about it right at the start.
Yes. Like they're incredible names, incredible, have had a huge amount of success in, well, I say not everyone necessarily, but a large number of players here have had a large amount of success for the Uprising Academy, and now coming together, you would expect them to be incredible. And, well, they struggled a little bit in the opening stages of this game, and they certainly did yesterday as well before pulling it to that 3-2. Now, it seems that we might be in for the exact same thing, but I would say Uprising Academy clearly hoping to turn that last minute loss into a victory. All that being said, there's still a lot in front of them. This is by no means a guaranteed thing. It's going to have to be a hold here somewhere along the line, or, I mean, we might be headed to those extra innings that we're talking about. But, I mean, if the defense of Volskaya is anything to go by, that may or may not be necessary.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, there's a world where Uprising Academy really comes out and just full holds this first point, this first attempt. But Ardor, they're a team that's very difficult to do. It's shocking that Uprising Academy was able to get that once. I'd be absolutely bamboozled and dumbfounded if they're able to do it twice.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a huge ask, you would have to say. But look at the adjustments here. Ardor, they want no part of the duel anymore. They're like, listen, you guys win. We're just going to take this teleport strat and roll with it.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a TP strat where they go up through the points to go up toward the high ground. That's definitely a unique strategy that I'm certainly not familiar with. That slow rotation. They're going to come back out, kind of push in. Stellar gets to find behind them, gets to just farm that full pop percentage. Teleporter will be destroyed, but so will Moser. That's Zenyatta taken offline. Ardor, they have TP'd themselves all the way up to the high ground, and they are ready to take names.
I mean, but that's a key pick, right? I mean, Moser is the main damage and really enables this competition. So without him, it makes everything go so much more difficult.
I feel Stellar is trying so hard to find these eliminations and has gotten quite a lot of ult charge for it, but everybody just continuously keeps running away. And instead, Victoria and Gig going to be the first ones to crack this open. That aim bomb coming back to life on the side of Uprising Academy. Waffle does find Gig, but the resurrection will come through. And Ardor, they don't have the numbers. They've got to tuck tail and get out of this fight.
Yeah, and I mean, by the way, I want to commend the timing there from this dive on Uprising Academy, where they come in at the perfect moment. It's right when everyone is at their most vulnerable, and it's absolutely incredible that they were able to find that timing. Obviously, of course, Moser getting back has a lot to do with it, but in addition to that, they had Stellar coming on the pulse bomb, and of course, Victoria being able to utilize the Bob. So much coming together at that right timing. And in fact, if you look at it, the way that the ultimates are coming online for Ardor, they aren't really all together, and that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, now, the only time that isn't going to be a problem is perhaps right now when that Gravitic Flex does come out from Adam, but now they really need to be regrouping and to be focusing these targets a little bit. I feel that's something we've lost in these later games, is that target focus from Ardor that was so prominent there in those first couple of games. Waffle, now the McCree will be able to find most of the DMAC onto Turkey Bacon. Certainly going to hurt, but it's definitely not going to cost him anything yet. But here comes Gig. You wanted the high ground advantage, you're certainly not going to get it. Here's Enox 3 down onto the low ground, almost into the minefield, just going a little bit wide. Victoria will find Waffle, and this Ashe, I mean, after they swap Victoria in, that's when Uprising Academy really started to win these.
I mean, Uprising Academy just picking everything apart that it's looking good. Though they need to hop on the point. That's already a second tick. And, well, Blizzard comes in to stall as well, but I don't think it's going to matter. The pulse bomb kind of shuts the door on any possibility for the re-engagement. And, I mean, not only that, but if you look at the ultimates available, I mean, Arjor, yeah, they're coming up on a couple of big key ones. The Earth Shatter one to look out for, but, well, no longer. Blake actually swaps to the ball of his own, and Waffle goes to the Widowmaker. So looking for some more win conditions, I would imagine, is what Waffle and Blake are doing here. Use the pile driver to knock somebody up in the air and get the kill off the back of that. That has to be the thought process.
I mean, yeah, exactly. That has to be what they're going for here. Otherwise, the Widowmaker doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Waffle so far has not had the best of luck on these hit scan heroes, and now Gig gonna give this Widow a run for her money in the back line, gonna be able to lend the pile driver just a bit, and that's gonna force Waffle very far out of position. We see that. I mean, 30 seconds left on the clock. Waffle does find Moser, but the Mercy is still alive. Stellar will be able to find that kill onto Waffle here, and it looks like that 1v1 coming through. I mean, the Tracer be Tracer. Victoria commits that Bob. Gig finds Blake, and I made a comment at the beginning. If they full hold 2 maps, I will be dumbfounded, and dumbfounded I most certainly am. Uprising Academy, I've said it before, they have come back to life here in this series.
Yeah, I mean, they were absolutely dead as a doornail the first 2 maps, and now they've just come out of nowhere. Really looking solid. That said, Waffle getting that opening pick, and Pancake following it up onto Moser might open the door.
Better late than never here, and Gig might be able to recontest, but instead they actually give up the point, so nobody's going to touch, nobody's going to come through on that. 2.5 minutes left. Victoria will fall pretty late in the fight, now locked onto the legs. I'm curious to see if Arjor can hold this momentum, or if they're going to kind of get lost in that, what I always like to call King's Row point 1.5. We see the card get stalled here all the time in the Streets phase.
Well, and it's a really hard choke to really contend with, especially if you lose the cart at any point in the first half of the Streets phase, right? And I was gonna say, listen, Victoria, you are not Dallas Fuel, so you better be swapping. And indeed, he's going to go back over to the McCree. Understandable. I say back. I mean, was actually on not on McCree before it was on the Ash, but you get my point. Going to be moving back along, and this has been uncontested so far. It's Gig finally hops onto that point.
Oh, he hops onto the point, but everybody had already left. That was kind of awkward. He missed the power drive and everything, but just kind of walked away. Waffle is going to be able to find Gig as that first elimination. Blake finds 1, Waffle finds 1, Pancake picks up a 4th kill. They're going to will lose the mech, but it may already be too late, as we see Adam going to lose the mech of his own, taking offline. Some great tracking from Pancake there. That's not going to be enough to cap them the point, but it's definitely going to get them close.
I mean, I might disagree with you. I think that might actually get them the point, depending on how fast this engagement can come through. And, well, right now, they seem a bit too busy dealing with Pancake.
Perhaps. Oh, never mind. There we go. I was going to say, I thought Gig was going to go in a lot earlier, but he really does wait until that last second. That gives the rest of Uprising Academy just enough time to get back into the fight. Gig does have to kind of tuck tail and run, but the rest of the team is able to get themselves lined up. Pancake will find Stellar a massive elimination. We see them back losing from Adam as well. Adam will be taken out by that pile driver. Fixa has fallen. Pancake and Blake able to find this elimination. Victoria tells us what time it is, able to take out Pancake there in that lineup, and it looks like we may see that second point cap come through.
Yeah, and I'm really not a huge fan of the investment from Moser. That's such a late transcendence. Was already down 2 players in the fight, I think, at that point, and there's just no real need.
Right.
As, I mean, it just... I feel like that's such a key bit of utility that you want to have available for this next fight. But regardless, Moser gives it away, and now I think this is probably was worst case scenario coming through for Uprising Academy, but there's still been 1:39 to push all the way through, and Victoria's swap is already working wonders. Waffle falls, and that's the opening the Uprising Academy we're looking for.
Nothing makes me laugh harder than when we swap to a Widowmaker's point of view and she's immediately headshot. I think that is so funny. I don't know why, but it makes me laugh every single time that I see it. And like you said, that Widowmaker did work out for just a moment, but Waffle and Syrup really get some great kills. Waffle now locked into the leg. Syrup on a rampage here, able to find a double kill in the mix-up, taking out both, I believe, the Wrecking Ball and the Tracer, if I'm not mistaken. Pancake is going to find Adam right out of that mech, and you know it's going to be impossible here for them to cap with anything more than a minute, so I'm a little bit afraid that this ends in a draw.
Yeah, but this is a recontest, and there's a big ultimate advantage for Uprising Academy, so I wouldn't count them out just yet. They might still yet
that's going to help. Oh, they are able to survive. Waffle and Pancake will both be taken out. Syrup not far behind. Victoria right back onto that McCree. They've got the bomb, which is a phenomenal point-clearing ultimate. We see just a coalescence at the ready coming out from the side of Arjor. I think I do have to agree with you. I may have spoken a little bit too soon. Uprising Academy, they realistically should be able to hold this.
Yeah, I mean that said, now Arjor, they're gonna have a couple ults available, but that's a perfect bomb.
was a good bomb, but I think it would have made a little more sense to clear the point with it rather than try to get them before they got to the point. Turkey Bacon and Pancake already going to find elimination. Syrup and Turkey Bacon with another one here, so just ripping this team apart. We see Victoria locking out of the Bastion, desperate to try and find these eliminations. Going to come out hyper aggressive. 10 seconds left on the clock, and I'll tell you what, Artur, they farmed a lot of ultimates in that fight.
I mean, they did. This is just a matter of cleanup, I think, at this point, especially
like that.
with
That's
that.
what I wanted.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted from Adam. That's exactly how that pump should have been used. And I think,
agree.
yeah, I think that was a massive mistake from Uprising Academy.
Yeah, no, I thought the plan initially was to just kind of throw it down a little bit and then engage with it, but no, they actually, oddly enough, disengaged, threw the ball forward and then disengaged with it. It just looked a little bit weird from my POV, but I fully agree with what you're saying. You're right. It would have been much better utilized to stall at that point, or at the very least to create some sort of space. But as it was, nothing really gained off the back of the self-destruct. And in addition to that, right, like the self-destruct actually ironically created space for the other team.
Yeah.
Was the catalyst for their demise, Uprising Academy, in that push. And I mean, that's a bit brutal when you think about it, but the reality.
Yeah, no, that was like I said, very unfortunate, and I'm not necessarily a huge fan of just seeing that mech come out so early. The bomb could have been colossal, but they, like you said, they didn't engage with it. They just kind of threw the mech, and they were like, okay, now run back to the cart. And it was
Now we run away.
Yeah, like not necessarily the best ult usage there, but maybe they're gonna have to learn from that mistake, because King's Row very well may end in a draw.
Well, honestly, I just think that they were honestly thinking, like, okay, we're going to throw it in there, we're going to stall them out a little bit. But they weren't ready for the speed boost engage that came straight at them. So regardless, here we are. No time on the clock available for the Ardour side of things, and it is going to be strictly a push for Uprising Academy. They got 2 minutes on the clock, and that's all they've got in order to cap just one tick.
Yeah, looks like they're going to go for an early teleport strat. I've never understood this one. This teleport up onto this high ground, because then you just still have to fall into the line of sight. I'm a much bigger fan. Like that. You see what I mean? You see kind of a hole in that plan. Is you just kind of put yourself directly in the line of fire. There's no secretive way around that teleport location. I think teleporting into the point just makes worlds more sense, and honestly, I'm confused to kind of what the thought process was there, but to each their own. And now already a quarter of the time bank going to be burned away. I'm curious to see what's going to be done here. Gig will find Pancake, and Moser will fall to Syrup as well. That one-to-one trade coming through. Looks like Adam not going to be lucky enough to make it out of his life, but nobody's touching point. Okay, they're able to make it up. Maple's going to be able to try and line some things up. He's not going to be able to find any location quite yet. He did find that one kill early out, but he's not going to be able to find another. Turkey Bacon will lose that mech. A bit of a disaster here, and Adam swapping out of the Diva of his own, trying to find Gig in the back line. Going to be able to do so. That's a phenomenal stagger onto that Wrecking Ball.
Man, I'm definitely nervous. We've seen some no-touch losses today, and 2 of them, in fact. So don't want that to happen once again. And Waffle doing a phenomenal job of already picking up onto the getting a pulse bomb available. Like, that's such a huge thing to find. Cellar has one as well, but Waffle already doing work.
Yeah, Waffle is just putting in the work here. And again, Pancake on the Sombra. They choose this Sombra at the most unusual times, and it seems like it may be working out this time. A little bit already going to be a quarter of the way to that EMP, but I don't know. It just feels weird. EMP takes a while.
There's not enough time. It's not about the EMP. I think it's all about just shutting Gig down, making Gig's life miserable, and really making it hard to engage.
Sure. And the bomb is going to come out. They're not going to be able to land the hack, but they will land the elimination. Pancake is going to take that out, but Victoria going to be able to take out Syrup. Blake will fall as well, and it looks like this may not end in a draw here, unless we see some phenomenal top-tier gameplay coming out from Ardour. I mean, Uprising Academy, they've just got the numbers. They've got everything lined up, and just like that, they will take King's Row. My friends, we have made it. We are going all the way to that coveted Game 5.
Yeah, reverse sweep, of course, is possible now for Uprising Academy. What is that, second day in a row as well? I mean, incredible storyline to to come through. I really think that when we get right down to it, like, it's hard to imagine a scenario where this continues to happen for Uprising Academy. But right now, like, they start slow, and then they ramp up, and here we are. Potential map 5. Like, it's just it's just really incredible that we're headed to yet another map 5 in 2 days. I think that this could go either way at this point. Ardour, they looked a little boomed there on that King's Row.
I agree. They've lost their footing and they just really haven't gotten back up. They've like slipped on a sheet of ice and they just keep falling kind of over and over. But maybe they can use this break the same way Uprising used that first one to kind of talk about what they need to do, change things up, and really get aggressive moving into this coveted Game 5. But folks, we are going to throw to a quick break. Go refill your water bottles, go use the restroom, and we'll see you back here in just a couple of minutes. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back for what is guaranteed to be our final map of the day. Still Sepulence and Vincent to bring you Map 5 Oasis between Ardor and Uprising Academy. Vincent, this has been unexpected is the word I'm going to choose to use here.
Yeah, I mean, out of nowhere, absolutely the case. I expected a great word to use. I mean, listen, we started this out in 2-0 fashion with ease for our tour, and we kind of, I mean, we walked into the halftime break feeling as if, well, this is going to be a quick 3-0. Our tour is going to just, you know, do the old taking out the garbage and doing it very easily, right? No, not at all.
Not in the slightest.
Just reverse that script, because here we are, map number 3, second time in a row for this Uprising Academy side. I mean, listen, I will say they have struggled, Uprising Academy, with this map type. Control has not been their game mode. But hey, now could be the time for the turnaround. I think that's possible. That being said, Ardor, they don't seem the kind of team that just rolls over on the reverse sweep. I'm just saying, like, they really seem like the kind of team that is going to be like, you know, the coach, the captain, everyone in the ear was having that pep talk in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and it was a straight up like, hey guys, we are coming in here, we're smacking this team around, and I think we're going to see a very different look for both sides with regard to the pace of play. I think we've seen some very slow, methodical play from Uprising Academy, which is solid. I mean, it's very good. It's what they're meaning to do. They kind of just keep rotating Gig around until they find openings, which, hey, what works. But I kind of feel like Ardor is very done with that play style right now. They probably want to change the pace of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think something of note is just that, like you said, the first control point we saw today, not a good one for Uprising Academy. It was 2 100 zeros. Or maybe the second one wasn't 100-0, but it was darn tootin' close.
It was close.
So it was very, very in favor of Ardor almost the entire time, and I think we might see that here as well. Not to be fair, Uprising Academy, they've changed the comp that they were running since that first map, and they're also much more warmed up than they were on that first map. So I definitely think that's something to consider is, you know, whether or not they're going to be able to show up on this, or is Ardor just going to go back to those roots and start beating up Uprising Academy again.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do recall, though, I mean, it was the 5th map against Malice that, you know, went the way of Malice to bring them to that 3-2 score line. So, like I said, it's been a bit of a struggle bus when it comes to Uprising Academy and Control. Sure. So I think we need to. The key for me is Uprising Academy. What adjustments can they make to make their Control viable here in the last stages of this series? And then for the other side of Ardor, how fast can you make this play? Because right now Uprising Academy want to play it a bit slower, a bit more methodical, and I don't think that you can afford to let that happen.
Yeah, I don't think you can really afford to allow Ardor to find their footing even a little bit. One opportunity, if they're given an inch, they will take an absolute mile. Like, it is going to be a disaster here for Uprising Academy if they get things figured out early.
Right, that's exactly right. So what I'm most curious to see is if we're going to see any adjustments on this composition. So for Uprising Academy, I kind of doubt it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Absolutely.
But for Ardor, there's a lot of kind of potential changes that could be made. And look at this, Saptalins. We've got a Sombra coming out of the gate on Pancake.
This makes sense. I like this.
This makes perfect sense. You're absolutely right. And it's going to be the more traditional dive composition, in addition to the fact that we're going to have the Lucio Moira, a much more stalwart backline than what we've seen previously in the likes of what Moser and Fixa are running right now. So this makes a lot of sense for the Ardor side of things. I think that they are potentially going to be able to swap this around, but it's going to be tough against this Uprising Academy that's rolling.
Yeah, especially because Gig and Victoria both have really found their stride in these later matchups. Victoria on this Ashe has been nothing short of an absolute menace against Ardor, and now Pancake somehow already made it all the way into the back line, so definitely looking for a hack early on, trying to find somebody out and just trying to farm that early value. Looks like they might be able to get the hack onto the Mercy, choose to take it, but instead Victoria might be the hack target. Right now, Pancake just got to do something. I don't like the Sombra sitting there for so long, not really taking action, because that just kind of makes it a 5v6 for your team. Stellar almost taken out by the Winston there, but not quite going to fall yet. Maple falls into that critical position after the pile drive from Gig, but instead will be dismissed by Stellar. Gig is going to be able to pick up the Mega there, and Adam finds Blake in the process. Pancake will finally find Stellar, but it may already be too late. The damage has been done on the side of Ardor. Uprising Academy, it looks like they may be able to get this first point cap, but as I say, the DPS find 2 crucial kills, and these teams, I mean, they're just going back and forth on which one of these teams is a little more likely to find this cap.
Yeah, and the res just barely not going to be denied, and Blake is doing massive work. I mean, this stick is far too late. It's all over, and with the cap going the way of Ardor, this is certainly a solid position to fight from. Especially considering that Pancake is already up at 70%.
I love this.
Okay, just kidding. He's already at 80%. Going to have this EMP next fight, and it's certainly a way to kind of turn one fight into another. Because if you just use the EMP, right, you can farm the rest of your ultimates and really start to roll point number 1.
I mean, absolutely. We always said it, Sombra, she kept coming out too late. Now that Pancake can finally actually play Sombra, I mean, we're very clearly seeing the effects of that. Waffle able to find Moser straight away, but Blake will be taken out as well, so that one-to-one trade. Pancake going to be taken out by Stellar, who's just ripping this team apart. This Tracer so far has been so impressive all day long. Gig finds Syrup, and this looks like a really good opportunity for Uprising Academy to finally cap this first point.
Well, and here's the thing, right? With Pancake down, that just enables Gig all the further, who's now putting in the additional work. And
as we say it.
He's coming back. I mean, this is incredible that Victoria's been able to be so uncontested from this side. But that said, it's still not really going the way of Uprising Academy over the course of time.
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. I mean, Turkey Bacon is going to be able to find Gig, but it's just, I would say this feels the closest that we've seen so far in terms of like actual fights. And I know that sounds crazy because, our door's all the way up to 70%, but I feel like they've just barely been winning these fights. Like, I feel like Uprising Academy is always just one elimination away from turning a fight in their favor, and then that Somer comes through, or perhaps that Tracer, and it just kind of falls apart from there. But I think if maybe just changing one thing could really be huge for Uprising Academy. Now, I'm not sure which thing that is. That's not super helpful, but I feel like they're at that 80%. Like, they're so close to being one of those top-level teams again.
It was such an interesting engage. Basically, both engaging with both of the support ultimates, right? Moser and Syrup. But regardless of the fact, like, the late EMP helps to kind of solidify the position. And this has felt like huge mistakes from Uprising Academy the whole time. Like you've never had a real fight. And that's kind of what you were getting to. The game is over without actually engaging, really. I mean, they did and they didn't. Like, Stellar had those really good picks, and then what happened up the back of it? Just kind of stalling, I guess. I don't know if it was Ardor just kind of being very slimy on that point and unable to get those kills. But regardless of what it was, the focus fire simply was not there, and Uprising Academy are left holding the bag and wondering what the heck happened.
Yeah, I mean, that was a flashback of Lijiang Tower earlier today between these two teams. I mean, it was that 100-0 there on Night Market, and so far we have just seen an exact repeat of that. A rinse and repeat scenario where that was 100-0 in favor of Ardor, and something tells me that momentum, I mean, that's not going to be stopping just for free. Like, we're going to have to see a huge turnaround from Uprising Academy.
And the incredible part about it is, like, Gig wasn't getting hacked all that often.
Right.
He just was playing so passively that he might as well have been.
And I was worried about the fact that Pancake wasn't hacking enough, and then it was almost the opposite of that issue, where hacked or not, Gig was hardly playing the game. And now Uprising Academy, they're finally going to find their footing here. Turkey Bacon will find 2 eliminations, but will pay the price of their life as well. Pancake, the only one able to make it out, and Uprising Academy finally going to be able to put their feet on the ground here.
Yeah, and it was off the back of Victoria just swapping over to the McCree. So that McCree, it does massive work at really shutting down the ball. And we can see Blake immediately going to swap over onto the Winston. Doesn't want to contend with the right-click availability that Victoria can put down. That's massive, massive damage off the back of that, off the back of the easy stem.
Oh, he got moved.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
What? I thought Gig was just going for a little joyride there, just throwing himself off the map, but instead it was a boop coming out from Syrup, and a very good one at that, taking Gig out of the fight early was the best case scenario, I think. Turkey Bacon will lose that mech as Blake is taken out as well. Maple will find Stellar in the back line. Adam out of mech is going to be able to find Maple as well. Turkey Bacon will fall to that Zenyatta, and this feels weirdly reminiscent of that first Oasis stage. I mean, this time it's just that we've got Uprising Academy in charge.
Well, I mean, here's the other crazy part. Gig loses his life at the beginning of that fight, and it's just a waterfall of kills going the other direction. Uprising Academy somehow fighting back without their main tank, and it was Stellar doing massive work on that Tracer to really do a good job, not only getting the kill onto the main tank, but demeching the Diva as well.
Oh, what a 90-degree turn. They're able to take Waffle's head clean off. Now 3 ultimates coming out in tandem here, making Stellar's pulse bomb's going to be 4. Fixa is going to be able to find Blake. Maple will fall as well, up to 70%. They've got a bomb and a Transcendence, but this should be a difficult fight for Uprising Academy to win. Unless Pancake staggers himself.
Okay, that was a bit scary.
Yeah, that was a little frightening.
All you support mates in the chat, you know what happens when Moser hits that shot. I mean, that is the best feeling in the world, and what an incredible shot to hit. Just it stalls out the entire push. It makes it so difficult, and beyond that, the engagement was a bit rough. So Moser having to utilize the ultimate in order to get out of dodge as the engagement comes back in.
Absolutely, and Gig gonna be able to find Blake straight away. We see the the cap comes through. Nobody touches on the side of Uprising Academy, but they choose to just kind of give that one away. I think they're confident in their ability to win this this fight, so that wasn't a huge deal. Turkey Bacon Wolffall able to trade out with Victoria, so the numbers advantage certainly in favor of Ardor, at least for a moment. Never mind, the support line is ripped apart by Stellar's Pulse Bomb there. Sorb and Maple both taken offline, and now that's going to be just absolutely fantastic. So 20% will be capped for Ardor, but I don't think we're going to get much more than that, as Uprising Academy, they simply have the numbers.
The two most mobile supports falling to a double pulse bomb is absolutely outrageous. It shouldn't ever happen like that, and somehow it does. Maple must not have had the ability to use the get out of jail free card, to be honest with you. But regardless of what it was, how it happened, it was Uprising Academy that just took control and kept control the most of that fight. But here's the key, right? We've seen these more, generally, well, I should say the ball style coming through, obviously, on top of the fact that we've seen a whole lot of divey stuff coming in. Blake obviously playing on the Winston and everything. This map, University, it's not all that effective when it comes to that style. So since Gig and Adam seem to be sticking with it, I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out.
I mean, what else could we want? Game 5, Stage 3. I mean, this is peak Overwatch. Right? This is exactly what we want to see. These teams taking it down to the absolute wire. One of them will win by just a couple of percent, and honestly, that all may be decided by whatever the first elimination is.
Well, long range Victoria definitely has a good opportunity, but again, where to engage and how to engage with this competition is the hard part on this stage in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're just seeing kind of a slow engage. I'm not sure anybody had even taken damage before the point was unloaded there. And now we see Gig going to go in early, probably trying to find that pile drive, going to get shielded out. Boats are taking a lot of damage on the high ground, able to survive and keep that D.Va alive all the same. We see that kind of long-distance spammage coming out from Uprising Academy here. They're really just kind of farming into that mini room and just finding all the damage they need.
Yeah, but if they get that early cap, that's so important. They have to. Absolutely. They're forced outside our door, and that makes mistakes.
Maple's gonna fall, but Stellar will be taken out by Waffle immediately after, so no resurrection online for the side of our door, but Waffle able to find Gig as well, so two of those huge impact makers immediately taken out of Uprising Academy's roster there, and now our door, they do find that first point cap.
Yeah, and all off the back of Waffle. Those two picks crucial. Really turn the tide, make it so much easier to really engage with. Look at that from Gig! Incredible!
Yeah, Gig, absolutely phenomenal there. Victoria and Stellar going to find eliminations respectively. Gig finds Pancake just like that. I mean, there's not much else Ardor can do here on map 5, stage 3 coming through here. So definitely not going to be the best turnaround for them. Adam will find Blake, Stellar will find Syrup, and just like that, they get a quarter of the point. But I don't think Ardor is going to get much more in that fight.
No, not in the slightest. And I mean, what an engagement just coming through immediately from Gig. Like Gig just does so much damage with the ball. It's really impressive, and like I said, it's so hard to find angles on a map like this, and they've done it to perfection. Look, they forced the mirror pretty much.
Oh, Blake gets to find Victoria with that pile drive early on, and two support ultimates have to come out from the side of Uprising Academy. They very well may work out in their favor. Maple will be taken out. Pixel will get the resurrection on Victoria, and so far everybody gets to live. We hear the high noon, I think, coming out from Waffle for a moment, but I don't think much came of it. Now the coach gun kill from Victoria isn't going to take no, but they certainly will take Turkey Bacon off the map. Pancake will find not one, but two. Stellar and Gig are gone. Victoria picks up Blake as well. I think just barely Uprising Academy is able to take that fight win.
Yeah, I mean, Victoria doing massive work there at the very end as well, and kind of just baiting Blake into taking that engagement,
right?
And then re-engaging onto Blake and punishing him for the aggression is what we saw go down, and it's really basic but really intelligent play from Uprising Academies. Look at the ultimate advantage. Bomb out and it's gone. Waffle, see you later. Next fight territory is what we're looking at, and that's 65% and ticking. I mean, realistically, by the time Waffle gets back in, we could be looking at last fight territory.
I think we certainly were. I consider almost anything past 70% to normally be about a last fight scenario, and we are just now rearing the 70% marker all the way up to 75, 25% available. Gig with an early minefield. Victoria with an early bomb as well. Pancake finds one, but Waffle will be taken out as well. Turkey Bacon taken offline by Gig with a phenomenal boot there, and Maple trying to stay alive. Might not be able to do so. Adam finds Syrup. Pancake finds Motor, but it may already be too late. Stellar picks up Maple. The resurrection out of Victoria. It looks like things are going to be coming to a close here. 10% left online. They get the back. Gig finds Blake, and I'm not sure there's even room for a recontest here.
Yeah, I mean, that swap from Pancake maybe just too little too late. there are
I mean,
players
70%
here, but
in one fight. If he was one fight earlier, that could have made all the difference.
yeah, exactly. I mean, now you come back in, you still have some players coming in and out. The ball, of course, doing damage, but it feels like the target focus is too good. And now with Moser just keeping everyone healthy, that makes everything much more difficult.
And most are going to keep everybody alive for anything but an instant damage kind of matchup there. Plays will fall to Adam. We hear the beat coming out from Syrup, desperate to keep this team alive, and Pancake doesn't even get to breathe out of that teleport. Going to be flash fed and eliminated by Stellar with the help of that McCree there. And now overtime starting to get danger close, taking away. Stellar finds Maple, the minefield from Gig, going to cover the entirety of the point. Turkey commits their life for the bomb, able to find Victoria, but that simply is not going to be enough. They're going to have to find at least 2 or 3 more eliminations to make this count. Syrup picks up Stellar. Blake has fallen Moser, but Waffle able to find Moser in the mix up. Gig will find Syrup as well as Waffle. So danger close to that pulse bomb, might be able to find it. We'll find it now. Can they land the stick? That can make all the difference here at the end of the day. The death blaster from Pancake will be immediately dismissed. Waffle will find that DMAC come through with a pulse bomb, maybe bigger. It looks like no, nothing coming through quite yet. Adam's still able to find Pancake, and Waffle doing a phenomenal job staying alive. Finally sent back to spawn by Victoria here. 2v2 on the point. That spin to win coming out from that one. But both wrecking balls here on point. Talk about a beautiful sight. Now, I mean, this is everything on the line here for our Dwarf with a double kill coming through, making a triple, making a quadruple. One by one, they will fall. The recontest simply cannot do enough. That completes the reverse sweep from Uprising Academy. Talk about a phenomenal turnaround.
Well, listen, I set it up. I said they really struggled yesterday to close out the game, and it seems that whatever happened between yesterday and today, the closeout potential just so much better for Uprising Academy. Not to mention the fact that, I mean, they clearly just continually improving over the course of a series. I mean, listen, there's teams that they just always look to be. They're always looking to improve during officials, and that's just what they do. I mean, you can think honestly, any sport, any esport, there's just the teams that do that very well. And I'm kind of getting the feeling that that's what Uprising do. They started out just a little bit slow, and then they come back into it. Uprising Academy, really, really solid. Reverse sweep fashion as well to add the cherry on top.
Add a little bit of spice to the event going on here. So an absolutely phenomenal job. And honestly, Uprising Academy, they exceeded my expectations, that great turnaround. And we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes with an interview from somebody on Uprising Academy. I'm not quite sure who, but we'll let you guys know in just a couple of minutes. Don't go far. one more welcome back to all you tank sealers and damage dealers there still hanging out with us for the interview here with Gig, who just, gave us the reverse sweep of the century here. Gig, how you feeling, man?
Sheesh, I'm feeling great, baby. I haven't had a heart-beating game like that in a minute, bro. It was definitely a treat to play, and hopefully it was a treat to watch. Oh my goodness!
I'm sure it was. I know it was for us, at least in the caster booth. So I'm sure chat was probably popping off as well. But Gig, my first question for you is going to be, after that 2-0 in the beginning, you guys come back after the break. Volskaya Industries, you just take it and run with it from there. What was the difference maker? What was the change up there that really started to give you guys the series favor?
Well, I feel like we're kind of getting a little bit of comp diff the first couple maps, right? And then it was just, we came to that map, we're like, okay, we're comfortable on this, it's a good comfort pick for us, right? And then it just worked so well, we're like, let's just fucking roll with it. Our coaches were there, putting in they're sweating just as much as we were sweating, and they're just, the staff and all, they're just, okay, we're gonna ride this all the way to the ship, baby. And that's what we did. It just finally started to click, And we're a relatively new team, so we kind of were just formed at the deadline, right? So we haven't had much scrim practice, so we're pretty much trials is our practice, you know what I mean? Which is, there's no better practice than some good matches, you know what I mean?
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay, so by the way, let's try to keep it PG, just if we can. But beyond that, I actually said, as we led in here, I said this team looks like a team that plays, that improves as they play in officials. That they don't do the practice times as well, but they just absolutely roll when it comes to officials. That's what I was feeling yesterday and then coming into today. So just kind of the emotions from day one, the potential reverse sweep, it all falls apart, and then day two, set up same thing, and you actually make it happen. I mean, what was the feel? What was the team feel walking away from the map 5, like last second, of course, victory coming in there on Oasis?
I mean, you said keep it PG, so I can't repeat what we're saying, but we're definitely loud, if that makes sense. It was, it's definitely good vibes.
Fair enough.
Well, okay, so let me kind of go back in time. We talked about the change and everything, but I actually think that the biggest change was you. You really came in swinging when it came to the wrecking ball. Just a huge difference in the engagements and the timings. Everything started to work out beautifully. There was one play, I can't even remember when it happened, but just on Volskaya, it was. Just the timing worked out so beautifully between you and the Tracer player. Was that something you guys have practiced before at this point?
Well, I'll be honest, we haven't had much practice. Like I said, this is we just had a couple of scrims with the boys, maybe, and then I was just feeling things out, and then boom, match time, right? Okay. And then, but I don't know. I feel like it was the first dive on Volskaya. I was sitting on that car. I was like, they're rotating. I don't know why they didn't try to force me out. That's just basics right there, right? Then I got that free slam on their backline. We got that kill. Boom, the ball was rolling. You know what I mean? Literally, the ball was rolling. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it certainly was. So fast forward, map 4 going your way, and y'all are absolutely playing phenomenally. When you're heading into Oasis, any doubters in the team? Like, is there any doubts in the minds of Uprising Academy there, or is it just full confidence?
We feel like we should have won yesterday, but this is our first time together. With a lot of mistakes, a little here and there. It happens in the past, right? We want to win. We're thirsty. We're professionals, so we don't let that get in our head. You know what I mean? We just want that win, and we lose 100 over that first map, right?
Yeah.
We're just like, hey. We are good, baby. You know what I mean? Don't sweat. We knew that if we blocked out the brig Kree from the beginning with the Diva, we stomped that comp 100%. You know what I mean? So we're just confident in our coaches, our staff helped us with the world, and we provided them a dove, baby. So what happens?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys just did a phenomenal job there. Like you said, in that final map on Oasis, you guys lost stage 1 100-0, and I if you go back and watch the battle, I was like, this is not looking good for them. And then you guys came out, you stomped, and it was just, it was a good look for you guys ever since. And I mean, Vincent, unless you've got anything else, I'll ask our final question before we call it a night.
No, go ahead with it.
All right, perfect. So, Gig, a simple question for you. Nothing about the game. Is there anybody you want to shout out? Is there anybody you want to thank or anything while we've got you on the mic?
I just want to, thank my team, obviously. You know what I mean? And then even more my coaching staff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
One
absolutely.
of the
Man.
great
That's-
coaches had
oh,
the
yeah.
boy Amir coming through. Got to shout that boy out, and a little bit of help from the upper staff as well. You know, what I mean? So it's always
Yeah.
good. Boy,
No
Ace Kyle.
doubt. Yeah, of course. Well, Gig, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was great to get the chance to talk to you and kind of hear from a player in the game. We can always analyze so much from outside of it, but getting to talk to one of you guys is always phenomenal. And
Yeah, it was a pleasure, brother.
yeah, of
all
course,
right?
if you could extend
All
our congratulations to all your teammates as well, because we only get to talk to
All
one
right,
of you guys.
we'll
but
do. We'll do.
Tell them all we're super proud of you guys. We cannot wait to see what y'all do next.
Thank you. Have a good one, brother.
Yeah,
Have a good
you
one.
as well, my man. Have a good night. And with that, folks, that does bring tonight to a close. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We have been Sepulence and Vincent. If you like what you've seen from us, you can, of course, follow us on our Twitters, which I think are below us. Getting followers on Twitter is like my fourth favorite thing in the world. So I would love to see a little bit of that magic happen. And, of course, thank you everybody so much for joining. Thank you both, Samster and Blizzard in the background here, trying to get everything set up for us, being our eyes in the sky and in-game. Huge shout-out, everybody, for watching. Thank you all the teams for showing up today and giving us your 110%. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more Contenders Trials EU and NA. But Vincent and I will be back actually on Thursday. We won't be here tomorrow, but we'll be back on Thursday. For the time being, check your posture, drink some water. Don't forget to love each other. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.